hello, whatever. We're here. Finally managed to somehow put things together and meet up, eh?
Yeah,
Uh, it's been what, 2 weeks now? Three
at least,
actually.
yeah, 2 or 3, maybe 3 weeks even, yeah.
It's kind of
Summer's
sad.
harder. It's harder to kinda coordinate in the summertime when it's
Yeah.
nice outside, you know?
Oh yeah. Especially because of the, in summertime you notice more the time difference because you have to do so many things, and then if it's sun outside, what the hell do we want to be inside talk about? But like it's kind of much more difficult to find the right gaps or dimes or get ill the first day of summer or calendar summer. And I was completely, absolutely floored.
Yeah, right.
Couldn't speak. I still have it, but my allergies now is going to. So it's kind of like a joyful ride for the
Mhm.
beginning of the supposed summer, which is not in England.
Yeah, yeah.
But hopefully we'll have it because they were saying, oh, you're gonna have the worst summer, like the wettest summer ever in 100 years. They were forecasting. Anyway, it's a joyful living, on an island. I guess that's what you have to take or leave it. That's a subject you talk to your neighbors all the time. That's a subject we always bring up. But anyway, I'm not
Here as
sure if
well, same
anybody.
thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna see any viewers or chatters because we are very impromptu. Because I'm still waiting, like to see. We were waiting to see if we both can make it on the same time. So probably, if
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
made it
see
I
us,
made it just in time today. We got home just in time to set up outside and yeah, it's
yeah,
perfect
exactly.
timing.
Yeah, and then yeah, it's nice to chat. I was like piling up the comic books, like I first I've done I got this on the sale this stuff which is absolutely ridiculous, which I made a video. I'm not sure if you're aware. If you're not, it's fine. If you don't, if you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, go down in my whatever YouTube world and the channel and check it out.
Yeah, it was weird seeing a video from you pop up in the feed. It was
I
unusual
know.
because that hasn't happened a lot over the
I
years.
know it's kind of crazy because it's not I do it on purpose. Sometimes it just gets away from me, like it's like we always spoke beforehand. It's nice and easy to do lives. You realize when you start making a video and you have to do an edit version of those stuff, and then you see how your camera angles as important as anything, especially because I'm talking about the drawing videos I've been doing lately. And you know what? Sometimes it takes me away from actual drawing because I know I kind of, should I set up? Should I not? Should I just? And then sometimes I just shush that away. So I don't think it's a good thing sometimes. But I'll do my best. Whatever. It's for me at the end of the day.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like that's the balance, and that's what people used to talk about years
Mm,
ago with doing their channel on a regular basis. It has the tendency sometimes to take you away from just actually sitting and enjoying the stuff that you're reading, because then you're
yeah.
thinking about like, oh, what am I going to say? What am I, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's got to balance that for sure.
Well, when you do live chat, it's more impromptu, and somehow whatever comes out, unfortunately, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's there forever.
Yeah. On a bit of a sadder note, I just wanted to mention a YouTube channel, Lord of the Long Box. Unfortunately, they lost Tivo, I think his name was. They lost him last week. Unfortunately, the man had a heart attack. We lost really passionate comic book YouTuber. He was extremely pleasant to listen to, watch it, a very charismatic human being. So I just wanted to just say that, I've watched it. I really enjoyed it. Kind of sad to even get over this kind of stuff lately. I know that too many deaths around, and that you just have to swallow it and get on with it, which is
Yeah.
absolutely mind-boggling at the moment. I'm just still trying to get used to this kind of old stuff like this.
Well, it's weird also when it's like, on kind of YouTube and stuff, right? These people that are in the
Yeah,
community, it's you
yeah,
you have some kind of odd, it's a strange kind of link to a lot of the channels, right? Like obviously there's
hmm,
a closer link between some of us because we talk a lot, but then
yes,
even ones that you watch, you end up having this kind
yeah,
of connection because you're hearing them talk about stuff for so long, you sort of
yeah.
feel like you know them to some degree, right? So yeah.
Well, especially when you have Tivo, who is like I spoke earlier to you about, he is a fan of Doctor Strange, and me and Terence, we love our Doctor Strange, and I think that's what really makes it that kind of connection to you because of the same excitement, about the characters, and comic books in general. He was absolutely passionate about it, and of course he liked to speculate in that sense, so he went in that route. But honestly, it's another way of, it's still at the end of the day one of community members, and you kind of feel like, it's just a sad thing, you lose somebody as passionate comic book enthusiast is rare. Sometimes people just use it for a context, but sometimes you feel very genuine when somebody who's this passionate about talking about, comics, which are what we're here for at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
anyway,
totally.
on that note. And another note, I watched Godzilla -1, and it
Yes,
blew my
you
mind
did.
out. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
that's
that
awesome.
was the best Godzilla. I don't know, even I couldn't compare, to be honest. I mean, I remember all the Hollywood Godzillas, and then you realize, damn, that's not a like, it's just action, pure action, and that's what you come here to get distracted by. But this one was like storytelling, like, and it's kind of crazy. Although at moments, I don't know how you felt. I felt that the Godzilla part, I felt like a little bit dolly, like a kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just a shooting angle because I'm not specialist. This is just my a naked eye looking at a screen and judging it. Let's say this way. So I felt like the scene in the first island when you actually just see Godzilla for the first time, which is it's much smaller size, isn't it? He was that scene felt really amazing, very surprising as well, and that's why you like about, I don't know, Japanese maybe led movie is how emotional they portray without you actually understanding, because of course subtitle reading. I didn't do any dub or versions or anything. I just wanted to hear whatever they speak, how they speak. I don't understand Japanese, unfortunately, so I always read, and it does get distracted. But emotionally, I was so involved, and I never thought that Godzilla would be the one movie where I'll go like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen next, kind of thing. So I was very excited about it.
Somebody put it really well on Twitter recently. Well, there's been a lot of talk about it on Twitter because it became it premiered at like #1 on Netflix and iTunes apparently. So it really did
Oof.
well. So me
Oh.
and my son ended up watching it again, and we watched the black and white version, or I ended up watching it again. He watched it for the first time, so I've
Uh-huh.
seen it like 3 times now, and it's
Oof.
still like the fun of like the Godzilla movies is you cheer for like when he's destroying the city. This was like one of those movies where he
No.
goes to that town and she pushes him out of the way.
And
That
then
destruction, it was so sad and upsetting. It was like, oh my fuck, like when you see the cityscape and how he's decimated
yeah.
and that dead look in Godzilla's eyes, like
Yeah.
just uncaring and I don't know you, I don't care, I'm destroying everything. It's an unbelievable movie. And the other thing to say that kind of relates to the comic world is that
Yeah.
director apparently is now going to be the what I've been reading is that he's going to do a version of Barefoot Gen, which is an infamous like first person account of Hiroshima that became a comic. They did an anime series, so apparently he's now slated to do a live action of that, which that'll be fucking outstanding, I think, because I mean, if he can put that level of emotion into a fucking Godzilla movie,
Yeah.
imagine what he can do to like a first person account of surviving that horror. Like that's going to be a goddamn movie. So I'm so glad it's doing well.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing story, and like the connection to the actors and the characters is just done so incredibly well. Like you feel for all of these humans, where most of the time, from my perspective, in the Godzilla movies, they're almost a little irritating. It's almost like a slasher movie where it's like you want
Yeah.
to see them get punished, you know. But
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
one, it's like you absolutely don't want to see that, you know. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's impressive, man.
Yeah. So I, as I say, it's really, I mean, I waited really long time. It seems to be to get to that level of streaming. To get to the streaming took a while because I guess they don't do it as quickly because it's Japanese. And I guess it's the same thing with oh my god, what is that animator? Oh my god, I can't believe it. Why I'm blanking his name?
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki's newest, the latest release, the movie, the last movie is gonna ever create. So I've been waiting like patiently, really, to see when I'm gonna be able to actually stream or on a big telly because it's not available yet. So I guess that's what it is. Like I mean, just like longer. I don't know what is it all about. I guess what's the rules are, but
I don't
usually
think yeah, I
delayed.
don't think they think about our market as much, you know what I mean? Not that they
Oh
don't
yeah,
think about it, but I
yeah.
know for the Godzilla stuff, like Toho is
Hmm.
they're very, very, They keep really close eye and hands on the Godzilla franchise. So
Yeah.
they don't just put it out there just for the sake of putting it out there. They really maintain control over their characters and stuff like that, right? So it
Yeah.
might be a similar thing with the Miyazaki, and that's another fantastic movie, a real kind of hits you in the gut kind of thing too. Like it's hella good.
Yeah, yeah, I heard you talked about it, I think, a little bit, but I heard quite a few people saying that it is not your happy-go-lucky one. Is very emotional, and you have to basically, he's the last thing he's going to ever produce as a movie, I think, or whatever his work will be done because of his, first of all, his age, and then everything else, whatever comes into fruition. But I'm looking forward to as well. It's like another one which I'm like tantalizing, waiting and seeing when I'm going to have my grabs on it, because I just really want to, like, if it's going to pay off as much as like Godzilla did, because Godzilla, don't forget, came out 2023. So imagine I almost had to wait more than what, a year to just to actually see it on the Netflix, whatever that platform, streaming platform this goes from. Uh, so yeah, so it's kind of amazing to, hopefully we'll see it soon as well, because there's not that much I'm excited about, lately. Where especially I think people are talking about that, what they say, that that strike they had in Hollywood, it's takes effect now. So you're actually feeling it right now, because there's not much things going on in cinema as well, because of this, of all the kind of delays going to be coming into. And then
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
still waiting. I'm hoping this week that, because I got the Godzilla soundtrack for my birthday and it's
Oh
finally
wow.
been shipped out. So I'm hoping this week it shows up. It's a double LP version of it, and I can't wait to get that and put it on the turntable, because that
Mm,
soundtrack. I mean, the movie is phenomenal, but the soundtrack is just an unbelievable soundtrack. It's
yeah.
so kind of moody and dark, and borders on like sound design and soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like it does a
Yeah.
really good job of balancing the two.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get that thing.
Yeah, still touching on the Godzilla, I really liked the ending. It was really surprising part, which is, I'm not gonna say. I mean, that was really nice for us, and I really like it. I just liked in generally the movie, so I was really pleased with everything. Seems to be from the beginning till the end. Also, what else are you gonna watch? I don't know, because you do have Disney. So are you into like Star Wars, or you don't give a rat's ass?
Yeah, no, we're into it. I see there's this Acolyte show or something, but we
Yeah.
haven't watched it yet. I've seen the promo, but I haven't actually watched an episode. We will watch it, but we just
Uh-huh.
haven't really all been in the
So
house at the same time to watch it together. Because the
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars stuff we always watch as a family.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know about it, so I'm waiting for you to say maybe a couple of words just to tell me if it's anything or whatever. We actually, me and my husband watched The Big Trouble in Little China just yesterday. Just wanted something, like relaxing, and actually so funny, and how cheesy at sometimes, because it's a movie from '86, isn't it? Yeah, 1986, I think it
Yeah, I think
released.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just like to, like kind of relax and watch something. I haven't watched that one for, I don't know how long, maybe a decade, maybe. So yeah, it was kind of refreshing, and kind of in the way you like, you don't remember the whole full story, what's happening, and it's just like it's interesting to see that era, especially now. Like the fashion comes back now, so you kind of like see what's happening, and like people wearing, like I even myself wearing jean jackets at the moment, because I just kind of like, why not? I go with the crowd. I needed a jacket. I always wanted a jean jacket. My jackets never lasted very long. Like some people can just, oh, I had it when I was a teenager. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that, because I could probably, too big for my for those. Anyway, I'm going out to track. Anything you watched exciting, maybe?
I watched. Well, me and my wife watched season 4 of True Detective. We finished that one.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't my favorite season. The last episode was really good though. Like really tied it together so well. I was really impressed with that final episode. But I
Hmm.
found like compared to, and again, like comparing it to the other seasons, I
Yeah.
just found that it didn't kind of live up to it. The performances weren't quite there.
Hmm.
Um, they always have these characters that are kind of like they're not they're they're kind of not good people, you know what I mean? And I thought
Hmm.
that as much as I love Jodie Foster, I don't think she kind of hit it. I kind of didn't feel any
Oh.
way about her. I kind of felt indifferent to her character. But like I
Oh.
said, that last episode I found really good. Like it was such a good way to tie the whole thing together. And that's what that show does so well. It gives you these ideas of like some sort of like um, I don't know, some big cosmic horror type of thing, and then it brings you back down to reality of like, no, this is what it is. So that ability to kind of let your imagination go
Yeah.
when there's things you don't understand, the kind of things that you end up thinking about, and then bringing it back around to like, no, this is what happened. Like that last episode was really impressive. It tied it all together really, really well. But it wasn't my favorite season out of the four.
Hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. But there was a lot of stuff where it was just like meh. And I found out apparently that was scouting to come here. It was potentially going to come here to film at a time, but it didn't. It didn't end up happening. And a lot of the stuff that I saw in the show rather, it
Hmm.
easily could have, because we have so many areas of town and the surrounding cities here
Yeah.
where it could mimic some of that stuff in the wintertime, right? So
Because they were
yeah,
supposed to be like Alaska, yeah, and that's what where
yeah,
the town
correct.
was. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really enjoyed
And it
that
was
one.
just these tundras and stuff, right? Which you can get out here. You can get these vast landscapes of just pure white in the wintertime, right? So, and of
Yeah.
course they use CG like they do in all the shows, but it's they could have, it would have been cool to have it come here. It would have been kind of neat. But yeah.
So the supporting actress, which I've forgotten her name now, but
Hmm.
she was probably my go-to person. I mean, I like Jodie, but Jodie's Foster's character was supposed to be a dickhead, really. She was there to be an alcoholic. She was there to be and kind of like, end up there because of whatever happened to her in the past. And then the supporting and her struggles to be, like she's in between because she's black and then she's whatever that indigenous tribe member, and she never knew how to fit in between, or her, like we never found her name, or she never found her name. And then that's what the clash between herself and where she's a location where she's at. And the most heartfelt thing I felt was the sister. I think that scene with the sister, like completely always struggles, and she keeps on because she's hearing these voices and she didn't know how to digest that, and her mind going a bit astray. And then it seems to be that she got her help. She gets to the house, that place where they keep them to get her mental state to right levels. And then the first thing she does, almost what on the first night, she goes off wondrous, and that's it, and she's gone. Yes. So that was the I think one of my favorites probably moments, even though the most saddest moments there was. And of course, like you say, the last episode it just rounded so much, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense. That makes complete and utter, because the way they explain, the scenes in that lab where everything, people were missing, that I loved. And I was like, go on, like I was rooting for them big time. I was like, I know that's what you're supposed to do, kind of thing. So it's not really great to basically root for people to die, but knowing the story behind it, especially what they did to that girl, that was so bad. Anyway,
I loved, and that's the thing, like it had a lot of neat ideas in it that I wish they would have
yeah,
developed a little more. I've
yeah,
always had a drive to go to up north. I've always had a kind of
hmm,
calling in me to like go to that kind of landscape and exist in that kind of landscape. And I
uh,
love the idea of the characters who end up in this place in Alaska
yeah,
are all fleeing something from their lives, putting behind them. And then
yeah,
this idea of like the tundra just calling to you, where you just
yeah,
got to wander out into that kind of darkness and stuff. I loved those ideas. I wish they would have developed those a little bit more, because I thought that was a really appealing thing to like this drive of kind of, just kind of I mean, this might be a little dark, but this drive sometime of like, just kind of putting things behind you and like, fuck it. And
mm,
especially I've been feeling that way in the past like year or two, right? Of like just
yeah,
putting all this bullshit that we end up dealing with day to day and just like, that's it. Just going up north, just fucking cutting the ties on all this horse shit. I love those kind of ideas, right? So it kind of, it really fed that whole kind of I don't know, darker theme that show does so well. Even
yeah,
though there's moments of like hopefulness that they also do incredibly well, they
yeah.
have this real kind of nice dark atmosphere, this almost like bleakness to it, and you're trying to find that light in the bleakness or whatever, right? It's a quality show, man. The writing is really, really good. I'm really impressed with it
Mhm.
overall.
Are you
I hope
going
they
to?
do more.
Yeah, I hope so too, as well. And I hope they're gonna bring up those new actresses like that chick boxer chick. Basically, she really does have actress skills and stuff, and she looked so mean. And then you look like when she's after she's a boxing match, and she looks absolutely gnarly in the face, like she been proper walloped. But then she's like, oh my god, the woman has like, like very, I don't know, I just find it like fascinating that girls can do that to that level, like completely absolutely smash the face out, and then they're still completely passionate to go back and do it again, because she's like a, isn't the Olympic winner as well in the boxing or something like that? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'm making stuff up, but anyway, good for her.
The
Let's say
other
so.
the other shout out got to give for that season is Tanya Tagaq, who's this indigenous musician. She's a singer. She does
Uh-huh.
like throat singing. She
Oh
has a
yeah.
small appearance in the show, but she also does parts of the soundtrack. And
Oh
in that
wow.
final episode, when they're talking about what
Uh-huh.
happened and they're going back to the
Yeah, yeah.
lab,
Uh-huh.
she has a piece of music in there that is just fucking spine tinglingly good. Like
Yeah.
it's really an intense, and it's her vocal performance in it that's really good too. But some of the music in that was really top notch for, again, like really bringing some of those themes back home. And I love
Mhm.
that kind of throat singing in general, no matter what the culture is. That kind of these guttural kind of noises that humans can make that are kind of melodic, but also have that kind of little grit to it. I think she did an amazing job in it. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's a hell of a performer, the Tanya Tagaq. She worked with Bjork on an album. Her and Mike
Oh
Patton
wow.
and a couple of people, some vocalists, ended up working with Bjork. I can't remember what the album was though, but
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you can find it on Discogs.
Yeah, if you remind me. My memory is so not great. You know what? Okay, this is a cliche, okay, but it happens to me extremely often, and I'm kind of distraught sometimes. You go to the room and say, "What the hell I'm doing in this room for?" It happens to me so often lately. It's like, "Oh, dude, am I really that bad already?" It seems to be a decade ago where it's like, shrug it off, like blah 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 blah, like nothing gonna happen. I'm invincible. Anyway, what else? What else? There's exciting. Apparently, Star Trek Discovery or whatever, that new TV show with Michael in the front seat. Apparently, it's already done and over. I have not watched it. I have not finished it, even though I am a Star Trek fan. I don't know how I am kind of like. I guess I like to watch Star Trek in chunks rather than waiting for episode and episode. So I'm looking forward to see, because apparently this is the end and chop the end of the line, because apparently Paramount is chopping numbers of whatever Star Trek movies or TV shows, whatever we're going through, which is kind of sad, to be honest, because I really was excited as a fan of Star Trek. First and foremost, whoever you hate or me or not, but hey, I'm so old Star Trek all the way. So I'm looking forward to see that end to it, I guess. But I am waiting, so I want that. And then, like, it's it's already comfort already knowing that I'm gonna watch it, because I always liked it. I started watching the last season. I think season 5 is the last one. So, but as I say, I have not finished it because some of subscriptions I had been canceling, quite a few of them, because it's absolutely appalling how much money they want, especially like Disney now. So Disney now puts ads on for the cheapest subscription month. If you don't want it, you have to pay like double. No, yeah, double and a half for not getting ads. So that's what pains me to even say that, because there's quite a few things I could watch it there, but not always is the thing. Like that's the thing. Another thing you pay for and not usually watch it. Okay. Anything else you want to mention about watching, or are you done?
No, that's all we watched really.
Hmm.
Yeah, we watched a Sam Peckinpah movie last night, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. And
Uh-huh.
it was an odd Sam Peckinpah, kind of infamous for his kind of violent movies and stuff. And this apparently was the first movie. This was apparently Peckinpah's favorite movie because it was the one that he had the
Oh,
most control over. There was so many gaps in it that it really made it hard to follow. And I think
oh,
some of it was unintentionally funny. Overall, it was enjoyable enough, but it kind of, yeah, it was just an odd movie, a really, really strange. Literally, this guy has to go and collect the head of this Alfredo Garcia because he needs to bring it back to these crime lords to prove that the guy's actually dead. So it's him with this head in a bag for most of the movie that he ends up kind of talking to and stuff. And
oh.
it's an odd movie. And nobody, again, for this whole kind of like anybody who comes across this main character, they all end
Hmm.
up pretty much dead. Everybody's dead. There's the body
Yeah.
count in the movie is really high, but it's such an odd movie. It's such a strange flick, man. But because I'm printing up a game called After Pablo, the guys that did Cave Evil and stuff. And
Oh, okay.
in the rules for the game, it says that the player that goes first is the one who's seen that movie most recently. So I thought, well, we should see the movie because I'm assuming he took some influence from the movie for the game.
Uh-huh.
So to kind of get us in the mindset of getting ready to play the game, I thought we'd sit and watch it. But yeah, I don't know how it ties into the board game because the board game is about like Mexican drug cartels and you're buying cocaine and selling it and stuff. So that's kind of the premise of the board game.
Uh-huh.
So, which I'm looking forward to. Excuse me, looking forward
Mhm.
to actually playing. I think it's going to be a good one. So, but so yeah,
Oh,
it was an odd movie though for a peck and paw. Not what I expected, really.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's it.
And
We
then
didn't watch anything else.
okay, and then you're gonna oh well, that's a good question. But are you gonna go watch Deadpool movie?
No, probably not because I haven't seen any of them. So it's not really on my radar. I might see them eventually. I hear that they're
Yeah.
good. It's just I'm not really interested in the character, so it
Uh-huh.
hasn't been kind of front of my mind to go to see it. But it doesn't look horrible or anything. It looks like it might be entertaining.
I wonder how can I make you read a Rick Remendez X Force? I mean, how do I convince you to go to the library and pick up? Because I definitely, they probably would have it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's Rick Remender, first of all. So you know Rick
yeah.
Remendez writing. We both like his writing, yes. But Deadpool is really written in different light as you what you see now nowadays. Okay. Deadpool is completely he has those cheesy, cheeky lines because at the end of the day, you can't change completely the character. But he goes into levels of the Deadpool where you not normally see it, especially now used by Marvel, especially. So I need you to basically before you go watch the movie, I think I need you to somehow convince you to go and read X Force, which is X. I know you're not your favorite letter in the comic book world, but dude, it's a
Unless it's X-rated. I do actually have a couple of issues of it, to be honest. I have picked up
oh
an issue or two in the 50
uh-huh.
cent bin when I've seen them, and it's for that exact reason that it's Rick Remender, and I wanted to give it because I mean, I read Rick Remender's Frankencastle for God's sakes, and I don't give a
Yeah,
single shit about the Punisher.
yeah.
But I ended up reading that, and I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest, you know. And I read
Jerome,
his wasn't it him that did the Captain America run or something too?
yes,
Or
yes,
yeah, I read that and I
yes.
really enjoyed that as well too. So none of them I have anymore. I've since gotten rid of them, but
Yeah.
I did like those when I was reading them.
The thing is, Jerome Pena's art is in there as well, and you know Jerome Pena from the
He's goddamn good, man.
yeah the what is that title of S? Not this recent one, but another one. Not you know that family, and then this kind of similar. Anyway, it's one of the they work together already. I think that's how they kind of got the relationship going, and recommend basically took him away when he started writing for his own books. But yeah, Jerome Pena is in there, and it's beautiful artwork. Another thing you could just like gaze upon. And then, so yeah, and somehow you have to read it somehow. I mean, the first trade at least to see, because Deadpool I think is comes in the kind of second volume action. To be honest, because they're all there. X Force is not your atypical goody two shoes team. Is a assassins or the members who they're not afraid to kill. Basically, they are sent there to do assassinations and hush hush behind the like goody two shoes X-Men kind of thing. That's what they call them, X Force. So I don't know. So to change up a bit of opinion about that pool in generally, I think that would be highly recommended by me to all, to be honest. Because if you have any doubt, I find it very hilarious. I don't take it the character seriously, but I would love them to be developed the character like the way Rick Remender has written him, because I think that would give him so much different dimension to the character. It just would make it more whole rather than just cheese and like absolutely like jokes and blah 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 and murder and whatever. The way he's dealing with situations, which sometimes you need it. Like you can't have a series all the time. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to cinema, to be honest, to watch that. I am kind of curious to see how the Wolverine and him gets together, and like Hugh Jackman still a Wolverine. That's gonna be interesting to see. Oh my God! Look, it's him working. Hello, Donald. Thank you for listening.
Hello, Donald Rex. How's the organizing going?
Hopefully, will be entertaining, and your organization will be sparkless. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go, but I'm curious. Probably it's the only one. The movies of blockbuster world, I would probably maybe if I had a chance to do, I would go, but I wouldn't mind watching it on the telly. I watched most of them on the telly, and they're perfectly good for me to watch. You know, it's quite bloody. You know what I mean? Slash, a lot of slash. You know, like so that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how they're going to deal with Wolverine and him together, because they were beefing around for a long time. Well, straight at the beginning when Ryan Reynolds got basically the Deadpool part, and they were dissing each other through the social medias, and now suddenly they're going to actually act in the movie. So it would be very curious to see how that dynamic would work. Should be really good, to be honest. Anyway, in that sense. So comics, eh? Do you want to? Okay. Did you read this? Please tell me you read it.
I got it, but I haven't read it yet. No, I haven't read very much this week. I think I've read maybe 2.5 comics this week. I just haven't read this week. Yeah. But I do
Dude.
have it though. I do have it. That's the standalone one now, right?
Yeah, no one talk
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
because I was excited, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh
no,
my
sorry. I
god,
didn't have a
oh,
chance. I
shit!"
didn't have a chance.
Two stories, like always. I think he's really good at doing standalone issues. He gave like kind of got annoyed because the way the story falls, but we talked about it. Hopefully next week, then I'll keep it on again. I put it on the pedestal so I know that we talk about it, Kaya. So next time, please try to read this. It's not a lot of it,
Oh yeah,
and there's another.
I'll definitely read it probably tonight.
Also, just to let you know, Kaya is gonna be on not gonna come out in July, only gonna come out in August. Okay, next. You read that one in? Of course, you told me you read it, so you have to have read it, yes?
I sure did, but I don't have it with me. But yes, I did read it.
But
Yeah.
you don't need to have it. I mean, I know you did. So, it's I read this. Well, now it's been what 2 weeks ago, because I was so looking forward to talk to you, and I was reading it. So the pigeon, eh? He kicks butt, eh? So I'm not sure where he's gonna go, but is this true? Am I thinking that he's getting a godlike power? Is that what it is?
Possibly, or like or he's going to become some sort of god killer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's really out to fuck people up, man.
I know. So this is very sad moments. I really absolutely love the scenes when he was looking for his family, everything destruction, because we've seen an issue before. I think that the huge wave right at the end, and then this is destruction. We see what happening. I really like him as a character. I think I want to see him more and more now, because like the way Rick Remender has what given to him, the way he was like, because I was so upset, like, so the story goes, he gets upset, he goes, looks for his family, goes back, he's escaped, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, whoa, that's really good, you're finally getting your kind of cojones back up, and then we're going, yes, we're gonna go and see what her family is, or whatever. And then he decides, because he doesn't see the family, he goes backwards, and he goes back to where he almost been murdered. And it's just like, what the hell? I was like, I almost was swearing, honestly.
But
I'm telling
it
you.
had a lot of the same things that, again, going back to Godzilla -1, it had the
Yeah,
same theme there, like that
yeah,
kamikaze pilot. What the fuck are you doing still alive? What the fuck is wrong? And same thing with this
yeah.
character. Like, what do you mean you're still alive? This is now your fault. Everything that's happening is now your fault. You
Exactly.
were
They
the
all blamed
sacrifice.
him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have seen him, and then this douche who was in charge of killing him goes, sits in that table, feeds him, and he treats him like like what he was treated beforehand. And I was like, come on, we have to root for him somehow in a positive light, but I can't follow him like that, because what happened? Where is the willpower? As you always hope for every character, whoever you follow, to have that much. But it gives that surprise moment. I think that's what he did really well in building it up, by giving the characters going spiraling down once again, and then suddenly, and that scene is a bit of a spoiler, but it's been a couple of weeks now, so hey, this moment where he's just there and then he stops it. I'm like, whoa, what is happening here? It's like almost like a Thor moment, like, or Hulk moment, like, haha, I have power. And it's like, what the hell? So yeah, I really like this stupendous issue again. I'm not sure where we're gonna end up anymore, because it's so surprising. It is true that he's really go that Lynchian way, the Lynch part of way of like, you make up your story like in your head, and I'm just gonna guide you a little bit and see where we're gonna end up. Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and then that's
I
why
feel like
you
it's moved away from that quite a bit, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that link anymore. Like, I do feel like it's a little
predictable.
more, not literal necessarily, but I do feel like it's moved away from that idea.
Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love that book so much. It's easily one of my favorites that I'm
yeah.
reading, by like kind of a long shot. It's really solid, but I feel like he's moving away from that a bit.
So you saw this advertised, but I'm not sure about grommets. Can you do tell me what's happening with grommets and what is this all about? Oh, there you go. There you go.
I will
Hi,
tell you because I really enjoyed it. Hello.
hi, Sean.
Hello, Sean. Holy smokes. That's a name from the past. Haven't seen you for a while.
He's on Instagram. He's doing still really beautiful art, and if you follow him up, and yeah, so he's still here. He's just doing his art on socials. Yeah, this is Sean. This is Rick Remendez and Max Furuyama. Max Furuyama is beautiful artist, but oh, also I
Beautiful
think
art.
I think is don't forget the artist changed. Yeah, Terrence.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. Did you
For the
know? You
next
didn't
issue?
know?
No, I didn't know that.
Foreseeable future, apparently.
Shut the fuck up. Why?
No. So you didn't you didn't know?
No, I didn't know. No.
So not
Well, that's
maxing.
bullshit.
I'm not sure. I can't tell you how far is other artists will go for. But Max Furuyama, I don't know if is he done with it or is he has some other commitments or something. But we have a change of artists. But the artist who's changing, I don't think you will mind. I hope it's the Lima guy. It's the Righteous Vengeance for something. I forgot the name of the title.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Righteous
So
thirst for
he's
vengeance or whatever.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Righteous yeah, there you go. That's the one. So well, I spoke the same with Travis on messaging as well. I said to him, "Do you he's like, you know the artist changes." Like, yeah, I found out like on socials, because he's been posting. I'm following him through Twitter, I think, and he's posting some of the artwork, and I was like thinking maybe it's just doing like cover, but he actually is gonna go insides as well. So I'm not sure what
Man, I don't
happened.
know. I don't know if that's gonna fit, man. I don't know if that stripped down kind of style is gonna fit with this. Man, that's a bummer. That sucks, dude.
But
He's a good
don't
artist, don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I think that it's a real tone that this artist sets for the
Yeah, I
book. I
know
think part
it's
and
gonna be
parcel with it.
interesting,
So
but I have to believe in artistic abilities, especially when Rick Remender's choosing him to go for. I'm not sure what happened to Max because I don't know. Max not never follows very long to actually believe. Like when I was following him on I one of the other titles from Dark Horse. He wasn't on the title for the. He had a gap. He had the like a rest time, and other artists took over, and he came back. I think so. Hopefully, that's what's gonna happen in this one. But I'm not really sure why. I don't think even Rick Remender has mentioned it. The reasons, or I don't find it the reasons behind why they're changing the artist. But I'm glad I told you because I thought you would have known already. So
I'm so out of touch with stuff that comes up. Like I always miss a million things, so I never really follow until I see the book. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like it's gonna work to me. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think that's gonna work.
Well,
Yeah.
wait. You never know now because
Well, no,
I
I'm gonna
think
get it. I'm not gonna get it, but it
Dave
doesn't. I don't
McCain,
think
I
it's gonna
think,
work.
continues coloring, so that will help a lot
Right. Yeah, but the
because
style is so different though. Like and the world that he's built in the book so far, it's the artist is obviously, I'm not saying anything that's not obvious to everybody, but it's so hand in hand with the writing to build up the universe and build up the story.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
a pretty dramatic shift because it's not like their styles are similar. We're not talking like a Marvel house style or something. We're talking very distinct voices between each of them.
yeah.
So it could go either way, I suppose, but
So Andre Lima Rojo is the new taking over an art. That's his full name. So he did
mhm,
it the like we say the righteous first for vengeance
mhm.
with recommender, and then that's kind of different. But because it's kind of but apparently he's the way he was well known for, I think he created another book which I forgot the name of course, because I don't know the details. But he was doing fantasy realm part of it, so I hope that it is. I mean, we always have like a little bit of a shift for us because when we get used to one and you want to continue the whole way, yes. But I don't know. As I say, I don't know what to say. What happened to him in order to disappear from this title, or at least for how long, or whatever happens. I don't. See, that's the thing. I find out some socials, but also I don't do previews. Previews would tell you kind of thing how far the artist will go. You know what I mean? Because they go way ahead. But anyway, we will see. Okay, continue with Grommet. Grommet? Is that what the title?
Yeah, grommets. So I read this one kind of right away.
Mm-hmm.
This was it's really fun.
Is it?
This style of art always reminds
Oof.
me kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
the
wait.
Mad Magazine kind of days. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do the solo layout. There you go. Oh
And
yeah.
it's sort of from reading in the back, it's pseudo auto bio of
Mm-hmm.
Rick Remender and Brian Brian Posen, I
Yeah.
guess is how you pronounce the last name. So
Mm-hmm.
it talks it basically their time, their
Mm-hmm.
lives when they discovered skateboarding and kind of who they were. So one of our main characters is sort of the Rick Remender stand-in, and the
Mm-hmm.
other character that he meets is sort of the Brian stand-in, which is this guy here. So that's the two main characters there. So that's kind of the Rick Remender-ish person, and that's the Brian person. Because
Mm-hmm.
apparently one of the stories that's in here this guy talks a big game about being a really good skateboarder,
Uh-huh.
and they go to this bowl and stuff, and they go skate, and this guy is gonna, all these guys are making fun of him, and he's like, "Show us your chops, show us what you're gonna do." So he goes down, and in a very kind of, it's such a good scene, and it's such a the book so far reads as kind of like I say Mad Magazine because it has that kind of feel
Yes.
to it. It's very comedic. So he's going down the bowl, and for those of you who have skateboarded, you
Mm.
know that sometimes there's one pebble that appears and you hit it and you bail. So he's going down, and we get this flashback to an asteroid sending a shard down to Earth, landing on Earth, going through time, being used as a tool for a caveman, and
Yeah.
being used as jewelry. And it goes on to another page of kind of this rock's existence throughout the millennia to
Uh,
make its way onto the skate park, where he hits it with his tire, and he
uh,
goes bailing, and he does a face plant. And then
oof. That's a harsh
we
one.
get
Eh?
we
Oof.
get
Oh
this.
my god!
And apparently this is a true story that happened to Brian. He bailed this hard where it fucked up his braces and fucked up
Oh.
his face. So it's such a good first issue. It's only going to be 7, but it's
Uh-huh.
really funny. It brings me back as well. Like I was never a good skateboarder, but I hung out with skaters, and at that time it was the skaters were like the punk rockers, you know what I mean? So there was
Yeah, yeah,
guys that
yeah.
hung out with mohawks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was never a good skateboarder at all. I could get from one place to another, but I couldn't do tricks or anything. But how that kind of that world and the way that Remender talks about it in the back is just amazing. Again, his ability to kind of take these moments from his life and make a fun story out of it. In this case, a very funny story as well. I think this is going to be a really good mini series. I loved that first issue a lot more, and it really brought me back to kind of an
Okay.
era. And I mean, there's so much, like, I think because I think about it just on the regular anyway, of kind of the benefits of being in that kind of scene as I was younger. It was really against everything that was going on in pop culture. You had your own kind of community. There was your own music. There was your own
Yeah.
friends, and it was this real kind of like, it was this real kind of, I don't know, you were outside of the mainstream because I mean, skateboarding even to this day was like, you're not allowed to skateboard anywhere. It's, cops are
Yeah.
hassling you. Like we got other kids are hassling you. Like we got in fights with other kids. We had one guy in our group that was kind of the biggest guy with a mohawk. He could ride his skateboard, but he mostly used his skateboard as a weapon, and he beat the shit out of people when they would come and hassle us, right? So it was this
Yeah.
whole kind of scene and a whole world that existed in that kind of skateboarding world, right? That was its own thing. And this kind of reminds you of that, these kind of outsiders that kind of took to this activity. And the way he talks about it was like he was never good at sports like soccer and things. And he said skateboarding was competitive, but the difference was your friends were cheering you on. It wasn't about being better than anybody. It was more a competition with yourself, to
Mhm.
to be able to like land a trick or to be able to get to that next level. It wasn't a competition with everybody else, and everybody who was around you was supporting you in that, in doing that. They weren't trying to be better than you and beat you down. It was about everybody kind of rising up together. And that's really, it's just a nice kind of uplifting topic. But man, oh man, this was such a fun read. Strongly recommended if you're gonna pick up any new books. But
Uh-huh.
I love the art because it really has that really great cartoony Mad Magazine type of style, you know, like
Yeah.
the Al Davis and those kind of
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
How's that
Yeah.
feel?
So the artist name again?
Brian Posehn, Poshehn.
Yeah.
Let's get the proper
Kind of
credits
like a
here.
writer though as well. Maybe he's writer as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so the writers are Remender and Posehn, and then the
Yeah.
artist is Parson. Sorry,
There you
Brett
go.
Parson is the artist. I
Yeah.
apologize. Wrong name.
That's
Colorist
right.
is this Denizo Moreno Denizio is the colorist. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's the credits there.
Uh-huh. Denizio, yeah. Awesome.
And it's just great. They're talking about their skateboards and they're talking about what
Yeah.
kind of deck do you ride and what kind of wheels, what kind of trucks do you have, and all this terminology that I remember. It's just really, really cool. And this guy's uncle is a bit of a dodgy character too. This bit of a sketchy guy. So
So
it's again, it just is really, really fun. It was a fun issue, man. Really dug it.
oh, that's cool. My husband is a through and through was skater in
Mm.
those days where even now he still remembers the skateboard he kind of lost because it was stolen or something, and that if he would have it this day he would be like like something of like worth quite a few pounds and pennies because of that, like it's the old school ones, which is now there's a collectors apparently as well who collect skateboards and they hang them on the walls and stuff like that. So apparently that's another world of collecting you can get into, and it's very
I mean,
pricey
it's
one
all
as
tied
well.
to nostalgia, right? So any sort of
Yeah.
collecting is tied to nostalgia. Yeah, a
Mhm.
couple of friends of mine that I skateboarded with, Vance Steves, and then his
Mhm.
brother, whose name I'm forgetting right now, his younger brother, like much younger. His parents were super supportive. They built them like half pipes and built them ramps and things. His younger
Wow.
brother ended up skating for a team. I think it might have been related to Vision, the company there. So I think he went and actually became part of like a skateboard team, and
Mhm.
kind of, I don't remember exactly how far he got along because this was an absolute lifetime ago, so long ago when we were skating. But like we had some people that we were friends with who were fucking amazing skateboarders, you know, and then the rest of us were just kind of, we just rode around on them, you know, and it was an absolute blast. So yeah, such a fun book, man. So fun.
And
And 7 issues, so a nice knowing that there's going to be a beginning and an end. I like that as well too. I like that it's going to be one contained story. It maybe they do some other ones, but I'm looking, if they've already started digging into like their personal history with it. I'm looking
yeah,
forward to seeing what else, what other stories they share.
that's really cool though,
Yeah.
for sure. And I remember, the documentaries I watched a lot, but in that time when the skateboarding I wasn't into because I was living basketball through and through, and I didn't see any other sports, so I wasn't getting into. But I always loved watching, MTV channels. They were showing all the cool skaters doing that. Watched lots of documentary of skateboarders because I found the men very kind of cool and doing this kind of crazy stuff on the board and then getting hurt and then like why like like the bad accent happens on those like pipes, the railing pipes, and it's like, oh my god, man, it's just so like gut wrenching at sometimes when you watch it. But it's the part of the life I was like seeing it, not experiencing, but seeing it on TV for sure.
It's a certain person, like Jerry Seinfeld most notably talked about skaters in one of his comedians in coffees getting coffee, cars getting coffee. He
Uh-huh,
talks
yeah.
about, he sees some skateboarders, he's like, those guys are going to be all right. You know that those people are going to be good because
Yeah.
they're doing something where 99% of the time you fucking hurt yourself and then you
Hmm.
eventually get it. But I mean, the level of injury that you can get doing that to get these tricks and get this stuff down, he's like, those people are going to be okay because they're not afraid to kind of try stuff, even if it causes them physical pain, broken bones, broken limbs. Like, they're going to keep going, they're going to get up and try it again, you know what I mean? And it really is kind of a mindset with some of these guys who really excelled in that world, right? Because I mean, even now I watch skateboarding videos every once in a while on YouTube, and it's
Uh-huh.
just unbelievable the stuff that these guys pull off. It's like, how is that even possible to do
Yeah,
that. I can't even wrap my hand about how is it even possible, because it looks like the board is glued to their feet, and
I know.
it's mind bending. It's so impressive to watch even now. So yeah, fun
Your
book,
screen,
man. So fun.
I, I can hear you, but your screen is frozen, so I don't know if
Oh, my
something.
screen is frozen. Oh, okay.
I don't know
You can hear
what
me still
happened.
though.
What do you? I can hear you like clear, like it's supposed to. You,
Okay,
but your face not moving. So I don't know what's
weird.
happening there. I just wanted to
I
let you
don't
know.
know. Everything is plugged in properly here. Maybe I'll leave the room and come back in, see if that helps. I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. Hope you not. Nothing happens bad. Oh, there you go. That's only me now. It's kind of weird all the time when you do chat with somebody else and somebody you have to leave. You're just like, should I wait or just like talk to you guys? Weird part. But I am gonna mention a book while I'm waiting for Terrence to be back. Is a Briar. So I got the first volume from a library. Once again, well, lucky me. It collects only 4 issues. Apparently, that's how it came out. Apparently, issue 5 is already out. Travis Oddfellow thoughts he has done a video showing his own. He also gives an opinion about it and saying that art is changed as well, which is kind of disappointing as well, especially after, because I think this book had a hiatus for quite a while. And this is a story about a sleeping beauty called Briar Rose. And what if she never got her happy ever after and we following her through? This is printed by Boom. Not always pick up a Boom book. Not that I don't want it, but like I get lost because I don't really like Terrence. Don't follow much of the previews. So if something come out and I miss out, most likely I won't be able to pick it up because the prices of comic books, especially number one, skyrockets, especially if it gets gains the popularity. So this one was surprisingly extremely entertaining. At first, I wasn't expecting much of it because it's like a fairy tale storytelling, but these creators of this book, who are written by Christopher Cantwell, and this first 4 issues, I guess, is illustrated by German Garcia, colors by Mateus Lopez. Oh, Terrence is back. Wait a second.
Hello,
I
can
can,
you hear me now?
yeah, I can see you as well.
Okay,
I don't know what
perfect.
happened. As I say, you were just like gone frozen and something happened. So anyway, so
I
I'm
just did a
talking.
quick restart and it seems to have worked itself out.
Okay, so I'm talking about this book. Have you read this one?
I had read the first, I think I read the first 2 issues of it, and then I just didn't follow up with it. I wasn't digging it a lot. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't loving
Yeah.
it, so I just dropped it.
Okay, so is this collects for this first volume collects only 4 issues. That's how it ended. Apparently, not ended, but they had a quite a big hiatus, and apparently issue number 5 came out, and I saw Oddfellow Thoughts talking about it. So I thought, let's have a look if my library would have it, and to my luck and surprise, they did. Boom Studios, like never, like I mentioned before, don't really go for that. Oh, yes, you were. Came out. Not sure what to think about the art changing. Yeah, I know. I don't even know. I can't tell you because as I say, issue 5 came out and I didn't pick it up because I have not read it before. As a trade, it was entertaining, but at first, I tell you one thing, I didn't really like some of the wordings they used. I couldn't understand some of the sentences. I don't know how they maybe the letters when they were like our storyteller is telling the story is all clear and nice and easy, but then sometimes we're using that maybe old age words, and I kind of couldn't kind of get lost in translation sometimes. But as far as a story for these 4 issues, I was extremely entertained. I really actually liked it the way it followed through. I guess as a chunk it really read well, and I really started to like the character more of Briar Rose. The way she woke up was kind of like difficult, like not difficult, but it was interesting to see how they represent her because after 100 years she ended up being nothing, like us, and then afterwards, she got the kiss from the strangers. You can clearly see, and they took away her. That's how she was lying down, the old kind of like skin and like mummified skin and bones. And they take her bracelet away from her, give her a kiss, and there you go. She wakes up. And then afterwards she decides to, basically, because she's been lying there sleeping for 100 years, she didn't have any nourishment, she decides to go and kill the mice, which was kind of a hectic scenes in here. And I was like, wow, she's like proper doing it, even though she barely can stand. She managed to kill the mice and actually use her pelt as a warming up clothes, which is, it's another thing is quite funny. So they use the language, it's kind of like definitely for adults. It's very much cartoony, so you would think your kids could be reading it, but it's also that bloody, kills and murder and all that slash story. So definitely designed a Sleeping Beauty story for adults and stuff like that. I really like this artist now. I can say this way. I'm not sure. I don't know if Travis was showing the artist. I don't remember if I've seen it correctly. I don't remember now. But this artist was really growing on me. Is I think Spain. I think that's where he's from, based. So the story is moved really swiftly, to be honest, in here. So you have the the ice age, no, not ice age, but people from the more north, who she's an escapee. Then you have Briar Rose, and then there's other characters came to be a team to kindly find out who is behind her sleeping. She finally finds out that it's one of the godmothers who is behind that, where she's basically did that on purpose. She was married while she was asleep to a prince who didn't really give a rat's ass about her, took over the kingdom, completely tarnished the kingdom. 100 years later, everything looks absolutely different to Briar Rose, even though she's kind of like almost sounded naive because of, like, she was cared for. She was her world was taken care of it. She just had to enjoy it. And then you have people like this guy who is the eye was inserted into his skull in order to her godmother to actually see his actions. So that's kind of like crazy. That gnomes, who is basically spitting and swearing at every single angle, which was kind of intriguing. And of course, they were unfortunately demolished by these people who's looking for Briar Rose. Um, Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Honestly, Sean, I always wanted to read Buffy from Boom, but never got into, because it's impossible to get hold of anything collected when it comes to Buffy from Boom. And I'm a huge Buffy fan, so I grew up with a Buffy Vampire Slayer. I can't even hear the music now singing in my head. I'm talking about. So it's intriguing enough, very fast paced, but then you have a witch boy or man who they saved as well together. So it's really fast-paced storyline, and the way it ended, that they're going after the godmother who is done wrongly, because Briar Rose is so petrified of falling asleep because she was asleep for 100 years, that she doesn't want to be sleeping anymore. So she's basically doesn't have enough energy, because she keeps on saying that I can't sleep because it's impossible, because she just feels like it's going to be nightmares. And there's lots of reveal at the end of it. There's some there's lots of like surprising moments, but there's some solutions right at the end of it. I'm not gonna kind of spoil it, but I kind of like really want to see now. I'll probably go back to Othfello's video and see what the artist change looks like, because he was disappointed basically. Oh, we know he doesn't show. He just shows the comic book. He didn't look inside. That's why I couldn't see the art. But it's very entertaining, to be honest, for a Sleeping Beauty storyline. I really kind of like wanted to know how far it is. The moments I really liked about the artists, which I really gives me a lot of entertainment, is scenes like, which I'm trying to show to you. Oh my god, what's going on with me? When I see scenes like these, where he's using the whole page, but he's managing to portray the storyline to a fullest, when they actually, and the grandeur of the place we have to meet and how far they have to travel, that speaks quite big volumes for me, even though it's not really well established. Like, I mean, this is just the way the artist is using this art skills to portray the panels, but I really like that. And I just like, I always get amazed. And I'm the scenes, like myself drawing, never been my strong point. So when I see that, it's like, oh, fantasy. I really like that. So it's really good so far. And the covers, Jenny Frison covers, always surprising. and really entertaining. That's how people love library books. They bend pages. Shame for the. But there was some amazing.
Bookmarks, people, bookmarks.
I know. That's really beautiful covers this book had. I really like that. And lots of like those eyes, and then she is kind of so it's really fairy tale of Sleeping Beauty storyline with Jajum for adults, like because of the swear words and the bloody blood notes and stuff. But usually, it still doesn't feel like it kind of like adult, a part of being sweary from time to time. So do you know what I
I
mean?
think that was one of the things that kind of it lost me on hearing about it again. I feel like there was it felt a little bit like what Jason Aaron was doing with God Damned, where you're
Uh-huh.
taking kind of like these fairy tale stories and then making them like darker and kind of portraying it in a way that it potentially it could actually be. If you really think about it, it's a pretty dark idea and a concept, right? So
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's what kind of lost me on it a bit, that it just felt like a little less interesting goddamn, because I love the goddamned. I love those couple of volumes. I think it's a great book. So I think
Mhm.
that's what kind of turned me off of it a little bit. I remember enjoying it enough, but not enough to kind of keep going with it, because it just felt like maybe territory I'd read already, done it a little better. But yeah.
It's still very nice covers.
Hmm.
No, I mean, as I say, maybe it's because I'm reading it not in single format, but in the full 4 issue pile. It's much easier to go through like it's the same with like similar things that happens like with Kaya. When I binge read Kaya for quite some time, many issues, and then afterwards you have to kind of take the time. A month later you read it again. It takes you aback, but because you have your memory has to catch up while you're doing it in one go, everything is in there for you to digest and just see how you feel about it. So when you digest in a trade format, it seems like it flows really well and it's really entertaining. So I'm glad I managed to basically read it because of the library. So I'm really glad about that. And yes, I am with you. Jennifer's and art is spectacular, and she's going from strength to strength. It seems to be Revival, the comic book I was reading like a maniac. She used to do all the almost covers on that one. And talking about Revival, apparently there's some sort of talks about with television or movie television, I think, but I'm not sure if it's ever gonna go into fruition. Even talking about Kaya, even Wes Craig mentions it, that Hollywood keeps on talking to him a little bit about that, but he says probably nothing gonna happen. It's just Hollywood kind of thing, like they're looking for some sort of rights and stuff like that. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
take
yeah,
that money and let them have the rights for a little bit, or option it or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I think a lot of artists and writers end up making a good chunk of change with those
Hmm.
optioning proposals, right? So
I absolutely love Revival from the beginning until the end, and I think it's one of the go-to book for me when that time and I actually started reading comic books. It was like one of the on the pull list books where I was like, oh yeah, I want to have it, and I was really excited about it. So yeah.
yeah,
uh
that's another one I'd love to read, because I'd heard so many good things about it. That
mhm.
and I remember the covers always standing out, like you're saying, like it always jumped off the shelf at me, but I never read a single issue. I never read it at all.
You should give it actually funny enough, Images keeps on coming out with $1 issues. Have you ever seen those kind of things? So they came out
I
with
have,
a
yeah.
revival. Revival came up with $1. So I bet you, if you go to a comic book shop, you see that kind of thing. I bet you will find one for like real cheap, to be honest, because they never went. I mean, it was hyped up quite a bit, and to my luck and surprise, Captain Strangelove, yes, that's his name. He he sent me a signed one, which I don't, like I never got one, but I got signed Revival issue number one, which I was
That's
like
amazing.
absolutely like, I don't know what happened to me. Like I was like, oh my god, how's this happen to me now? But yeah, I was really stoked and I was really thankful for that. So I'm always gonna stay, of course, in my collection because it's like something special. You don't just get something like that every single day, at least in across the pond. Okay, let's say it this way. you know. So yeah, I was really excited about that title,
Yeah,
and I
that's
recommend
super
reading
cool.
to anybody if you wanted to have. Okay, zombies and all that stuff is kind of tiresome,
Yeah,
but
but it can still be done well.
it's yeah, and the character development and surprise pregnancies, that's a bit of a shocker, and that's the only thing I'm going to
Mm,
say. So yeah,
mhm.
it was interesting and intriguing to read. Could
Cool.
reread it again. It's been a while though. It's like the same thing about Rachel Rising for like Terry Moore work. I could reread that again, to be honest, because
Man,
it's absolutely
so
love
could
this.
I. Now that I'm getting into his stuff, I could easily reread that. I'm really digging the stuff I've been reading so far, like in a
Yeah,
big, like even much more than I thought I would. Like I knew I would like it because
yeah,
again, and it's another one of those books that you always hear good things about. So I knew I
mm,
would like it, but I
yeah,
like it way more than I thought I would. Like it's
yeah.
so good what I've read so far. I really, really enjoy it. Yeah.
So you're probably getting it from library, yes? The Rachel
I
Rising
know I was
stuff.
buying them cheap. I found
Oh,
the first 3 volumes of the Rachel Rising trades for like $2 a piece.
oh
And then I
wow.
found book 1 of Serial for, I think that one was cover price, but I bought it
Uh-huh.
anyway. And
Mhm,
loved that one as well too. So yeah, I'm gonna try to hopefully find more of them cheap. The Rachel Rising stuff cheap. I'll probably just go the trade route now that I've started it.
mhm,
But oftentimes, like with, I'm sure it's the same everywhere. It's hard to resell graphic novels. Nobody
mhm,
wants to buy used graphic novels for whatever reason. I don't really understand why, but so I always find a lot of graphic novels for like dirt cheap because people are just trying to get rid of them. So I'm hoping, and
mhm,
I've missed a couple of comic shows here in town because I just haven't been able to afford to go. So I haven't even bothered to even go down and look around. But I'm
mhm.
sure I'll be able to find the rest of them cheap if I kind of keep my eyes open.
What's difficult to get hold of is hardcovers of that,
Yeah, yeah.
because like he released his own from Abstract Studios, and the special edition ones, and those are like lovely. They came out with a black hardcover for the Rage and Rising. I only got the regular omnibus edition because I was collecting them in single, so I double dipped it because I had the omnibus now, and I have the in single format. I missed on issue number 1 because I jumped in quite late into Rachel Rising. I've been like 13 issues maybe in when they were. So I picked up the first trade, I caught up, then I started picking up the back issues, and then I continued further to the things. Yeah, I agree with you, Sean. Captain Strange is a good people for sure. Yes, if we could do that every time, I think all of us comic collectors would be absolutely beaming with light. Let's say this way, yes, like the light would never leave us.
Well, that's the one thing, no matter whose video you watch,
Yeah.
anybody in the comics YouTube world, the first thing they'll say is, I got this for a really good deal. And then they'll talk about how good the story is, but it's like, man, I paid like 50 cents for this thing. That's always something that you hear people say. It's
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
I love it.
I still do. I mean, I did the last one. I couldn't. I
Hey
was a
man,
fac-
I do the same thing. Yeah, it's
I
part and
mean, come
parcel
on,
of this
you
game.
like those facsimile editions, which just got hold of it, which they had the sale on. I mean, they would charge like $7 a pop. I mean, it's like, come on, man, it's quite crazy. I mean, I know you did reprint it, but I show you one of them, which I got really quite disappointing because the way the print looks like inside. But I'll do it later. Okay, have you read? Did you? Yeah, your turn. Did you read anything else? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Go, go,
Oh
go, go,
shit,
go.
yeah, I did. One that
Okay.
I've been waiting for a long time,
Oh
and
yeah.
I forgot that it came out this week, and I
Uh-huh.
saw a post on it. So yesterday I went down to 204 Comics and to make sure that I grab a copy.
Yeah.
Fucking Precious Metal #1,
Yeah.
from the incredible Ian Bertram and the
Uh-huh.
fucking stunning Matt Hollingsworth doing the coloring on this. The
Yeah.
coloring on this blows my fucking mind, man.
Oh
Like
no, I want to get it.
we always end up talking about colorists. This is next level coloring on this book. So this is from the Little Bird universe. This is 35 years before Little Bird. So Little Bird is a book that they did previously.
Yeah.
And in the back, the writer does a little bit of a write-up saying that when they wanted to do this book, they wanted to really step out of that world and they wanted to do something very unique. And motherfucker, they knocked this out of the park.
Oof.
This is a gorgeous. The story itself is really intriguing as well. It makes me want to go and reread Little Bird. But this, I feel like this is a book you can go into even if you haven't read Little Bird. I don't
Yeah.
know if the textures, like if you look at the textures on her face there, it looks like pencil crayon. I'm
Uh-huh.
assuming that all of this is digitally colored. That's an assumption because I'm not an expert in that.
No,
But the colors in this book and the use of colors from scene to scene is just goddamn exceptional. And Ian Bertram's art that I've always loved seems to
Oh,
be
look at
even
that.
better. He's playing with some shapes and some abstraction at times that kind of remind me of Matt Lesniewski, and
Yes,
it
it
made me
does.
think like I would love to see the two of them do a book together, like somehow kind of deal with art duties. I think they would pair up incredibly well, especially with some of Bertram's backgrounds and some of the shapes. It reminded me of that Faceless and the Family. But this is, first of all, it's a thick ass issue number one. It's a real chunky issue. You get the heavy cardstock kind of cover.
Mhm.
It's reproduced amazingly, and stuff like this is just incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's such an intriguing story. It's such an intriguing universe. I'll
Uh-huh.
get you to a section where the color shift
Oh
happens. Oh
wow.
yeah, so we get all these. We're starting to. The story is still a little is still a little alien to me. It needs a reread. So I can't really talk too much about the story because I really just focused on the art for this first read
Yeah.
through. Um, but our main character here that we're following, he's sort of like a bounty hunter. So this takes place in Canada, which is also something that I love. This whole Little Bird universe is Canadian, which is great. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
look at these buildings here and the coloring on those buildings and things.
Uh-huh.
Really cool. So at one point, he kind of gets grabbed up by this creature that's
Wow.
this giant eyeball, and gets sucked up into this thing's body,
Uh-huh.
and he ends up getting kind of the shit kicked out of him and thrown into. There's an explosion, and he gets thrown into the water, into the ocean. So we get this beautiful transition from this to this.
Oh wow.
Like, that is stunning. Like, it's like the great wave just done in comic book form, but really dark and ominous. And when we do meet the kind of villains of the story, so we get another kind of good color shift. We get from like these blues and things here, and then we start to creep into this world that's kind of this black and white and red. So you end up having these great page turns where then you're hit with pages like this that are just really, they're really, really striking, beautiful style. So Ian Bertram is a longtime favorite of mine. House of Penance was easily one of my favorite reads that year, and probably one of my favorite reads of a long time. Little Bird Volume 1 there was really good too. I think this one really steps their game up in a huge, huge way. But Ian Bertram knocks this shit out of the park. It's such a gorgeous book. Another one that I would highly recommend as well. And like I said, you don't need to know the Little Bird first volume to get into this. I don't feel like so far you can still get something out of it. But I really feel like they've met their goal, because this has been in the works now for a few years. This isn't something that, like, they've taken about 3 years to kind of get here, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
writer talks about it at the end, the patience of his wife as he's pursuing this, and they
Yeah.
really pushed themselves to kind of do something different. He's got a little right up here at the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we get a black and white image of the next cover. So this is and it's story right to the end. There's no advertising at the back of it. There's only that right up from him. So this is like a 2 issue crammed into one, and then they give you, of course, the only ad they have is for the Little Bird volume, which has been collected, I think, in like a hardcover as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
too.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure you can still find the single issues and things. So Precious Metal number 1, I don't know how many issues this is supposed to go, but
6.
highly recommended. Bertram is one of the my favorite artists. He's kind of in that camp of like Chris Burnham and people like that. Like, he sort of has the same kind of feel. Yeah, very Mobius vibes for sure. And a lot of that kind of European style for sure
Yeah.
in that. But such a good artist.
6 issues, and I can't find the number one issue anymore.
Ah,
Problem.
well, I'll go to my shop because they had 2 more on the shelf. They had
Well,
two other issues on that shelf, and I'll see if I can grab one if they
I'll let
still
you
have it.
know. I'll get in touch with my comic guy tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Because of the see if he has, but the big chain store doesn't have anymore, so that's not a good sign. I mean, it's
Mhm.
popular.
I
And
think it's one people have been waiting for, because I
yeah,
think that Little Bird did pretty good when it came out. I think it did pretty good numbers for them. So
just don't look for Treadmore's cover. Yeah,
I have it. I've got
you
I've got
did.
it. Oh, fuck yeah, I've got it. Yeah, absolutely, I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you know me, I love trad more, so I did end up finding the cover I think it was at a little convention for relatively cheap, like not very much money. It wasn't dirt. It wasn't 50 cents, but it wasn't $20 either. So yeah, no, I have it. I've
Because
got it.
that one is like in 1 in 25, whatever that means. I
It's a
don't know what
beautiful
that
and it's
means.
a beautiful cover, man. It's a beautiful cover.
Yeah. Oh
Tradmore
wow.
is an exceptional artist.
So you,
Yeah.
somebody's a fan.
Yeah. Oh, huge fan, huge fan. I mean, and it's that kind of art that works for me. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Um, should we talk about, because this really links into me with
Yeah, go
this?
on.
Do you want to go to this one?
Ah, okay. I was waiting for a bit later, but yeah, go on.
Yeah.
No, no. So, okay, can
So
I tell you?
the
Can I
thing
tell
that
you
the thing
one?
that worked, the link for me is Bertram, is sorry, yeah, Chris Burnham. Sorry, Chris Burnham.
Yeah,
His art has always
yeah.
been really good. I never realized that his art is ideal for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's
Uh-huh.
it's perfect. It is perfect for that style,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this book. Like it has enough it looks enough like the OG TMNT stuff, the Eastman Laird. It's got that kind of rawness to it where I feel like this is a different Chris Burnham than I've seen in the past.
Yeah.
It's still fucking amazing, but it feels like it's got a little bit of rougher edges than I've seen from him in the past, which I love. I loved this first story so much. I'm so excited for the rest of the Jason Aaron stuff. Sorry, go on.
I got annoyed
Oh
because not
no.
annoyed, not annoyed about the storyline. It's how
Yeah,
much we got out of it. Because so it's
yeah,
two stories in this one. You pay 5.99, isn't it? Yeah, 6.99. 6.99
yeah,
on this chunk. Okay. And then this first story, which is Jason Aaron's, and it's a
yeah.
very good feel. Of course, I really liked it. I liked the way they put the colors on who's talking. I think that's extremely important now. Even though
Mm,
you have your bandanas and stuff, I think he's not gonna go in that route. Another very good sign of this so far, let's hope, is that they're gonna continue. So the continuation is there, because
yes.
the Monster Island, which is the second story you got, is absolutely everything whatever has happened, and the characters who was in the titles of Turtles is there. It's like,
Mm,
so nothing they going off route. So the people, maybe I don't know about Jason Aaron, because still don't know. We can't really have a good feel of it, of where he's gonna take them. It seems to
mhm,
be he's gonna play with a lot of mental state of turtles, because the way
mhm,
the actual the whole story ended, because they were going their own way. Yes, they are splitting apart, no more brothers, individuals, because what scenes had happened in the turtle line beforehand. And now you have because it's gonna start with individual stories as it's been advertised. So it's gonna go. Oh yeah, there you go. You're gonna have each issue in with different turtles storyline, and with different story, different artists as well. So I think that's what he's gonna try to kind of like maybe piece them together afterwards. I presume, but it's a good sign that they're going into continuation, because I thought they're gonna just completely go separate ways, like just start selling the different turtle side of it. But I think it's important that there are so many characters established, especially when it comes to this Monster Island storyline, which we got the chunk of it. This is like a full-blown issue you got. So we only got a glimpse of Jason Aaron's, but this one was like from the beginning to the end, what they're gonna do with the characters, where they're gonna take the characters, who's gonna be the main characters, and all of them I've seen them, all of them, in the Turtles books beforehand. Whoever was writing them down, and the guy who's writing it is Tom Waltz, so he's done the work of there beforehand. I think. Yes, I think I am right. Anyway, but yeah, so what I got annoyed by is you have a whole issue of like really established storyline, you know exactly where they're gonna go, but only glimpse of Jason Aaron's, because at the end of the day I still do follow my main turtle title, and
yeah.
that's where my interest falls. But honestly, the way they explain the characters who's involved in this one, I'm really glad that Jenica is gonna be back, because when I saw the Jason Aaron turtles, she wasn't there anymore. So I was like, are we gonna cancel the female turtle? But no, she's gonna be in this mutant storyline. And it was really good. I absolutely loved it. This is like reading your main title felt like it. It felt exactly how all the characters. It's really funny. Those creatures, the main characters, the main team is they are really kind of like Hobbs has always been a baddie, but now he's kind of like shifting towards being good or bad or in between. And this story really well established that. And I don't think it, did you feel confused about everything whatever's happened in here?
Yeah, I mean, the second story didn't do much for me because I
Oh,
felt
okay.
really lost because I don't know who any of those characters are. Like, I haven't been
Uh-huh.
following it like you have, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be the challenge for me. Like, I really feel like it's just I have a lot of catching up to do. So,
Yeah.
and honestly, like because that opening was so strong, I was less interested in the second half, or the second
I
three
love it.
quarters rather, because like
Yeah.
you said, it was such a small chunk of the Jason Aaron stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I wish there was more as well. I wish it was
Yeah.
like half and half, but that really set a tone for me where the other stuff I just felt too lost. I think I kind of skimmed through some of it because I just didn't know who these people were and what was going on. So
This part of the character's introduction is really vital for you kind of get a glimpse
absolutely,
of.
I
But
agree.
don't forget that what they're trying to do for people who has never read it is 9 characters to follow. It's quite a lot in one issue. It's like because I've been reading them for so long, I know them. I like Angel is one of the big parts of the turtles because she's a friend of what's his name now, Casey Jones, and Casey Jones is no more, he's died. So she was part of the group because it kind of like because she's a friend of his, it was very important part of the storytelling. Also Jenica, as I say, it's a female introduction to female turtle because what has happened to her and she had a blood transfusion. So I wasn't confused in this one. So for a long-term readers of turtles, I think this is gonna really kind of be familiar with and kind of feel like we never lost the what it was beforehand. And I'm glad because at the end of the day they have like made so many new characters, and I think it's like you can lose them or you can continuously using them. And I think if they're gonna be exciting storytelling, because this scientist, she was trying for human scientist, so it's a reverse kind of thing. She's a human, but she was like a never was able to be part of the group of the humans, so she went into the mutants because she felt like a way she was always accepted, and then she was starting to experiment on herself and she became something. It was like, of course they're gonna have to go route of spiders, the most grotesque little things, but you have to go spider route. And then she was starting to kill everybody. It's kind of like just murderous because she's like continuously being hungry and stuff. So yeah, I it's extremely entertaining and I really liked it. um the crab with a dumpster as a shell, that's just absolutely hilarious. And he's quite a he looks like he has lots of guns, but his heart is really like soft, and he's always been there for everybody. He's always kind of sacrificed himself most of the time, as he was doing it again once again in the storyline. So all of the characters feels like it's there. So I'm really entertained by it, but of course, like always, my priority always gonna be a turtle and see how I feel about going into, because they really explain to you. They even give you a timetable to what's gonna release and what you should expect
I
for.
love that because it also doesn't look like an insane amount of books, which
Yes,
is good too. Like it looks
yeah,
like actually that's reasonable. It's not like there's 6 different titles every single
yeah.
month, you know. I think that looks pretty easy to kind of keep up with.
They're going a bit gentle with you for first 4 months, and then afterwards, ah! From
Yeah, exactly.
September,
Yeah, the
it
last couple
holds.
of months or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna give you like a read this, read that. I will see how I feel about all that. I guess my turtles title will be my priority at the end of the day. But Night Watcher now, I don't know if I think I'm gonna have to get it as well, because it's gonna be like a gap between the July #1 issue turtle and then there's no turtle in August. It seems to be, so only Night Watcher. So I might gonna have to get hold of that as well. I wasn't really interested in it when on Free Comic Book Day when they had it, because I picked it up as well to see what they all about. So maybe just because the story wasn't grabbing me at the time, but we'll see. But I am happy so far. So far, I'm very cautious. Let's say cautiously optimistic about this so far. But yeah, like such a little glimpse of Jason Aaron's, because it seems to be quite interesting how Jason Aaron Lewis uses mental stability of the characters and how he puts them in there. Like just talks like happy-go-lucky storytelling, like he's got captures, blah blah blah, and suddenly you realize, oh, something is not really okay with
Oh
the
yeah,
fellow.
man, he's a little fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
and I like that it's a little bit of what seems like a little bit of a darker story. Again, like because
Mhm.
I'm way more familiar with the original stuff, this
Yeah.
feels his story
Yeah.
seemed like it really fit with that kind of grittier earlier stuff, which is again what I'm most familiar with. So it kind of resonated with me in that way. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a fun book, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next, do you have something, or should I do it?
I've got I haven't finished the issue yet, but I do
Uh-huh.
want to talk briefly about this one.
Okay, go.
The newest issue of The
Oh
Sickness is
yes.
out.
Uh-huh.
So it's issue number, what is that? It's issue number 5 now.
Ooh,
So
look at that
it
face.
is Uncivilized Books. And what I would point people to is Uncivilized Books has, you can pre-order the trade for the first volume.
Oh.
And if you pre-order it soon enough, you can get like a book plate in with it as well too. You can also subscribe to the next chunk, which is going to come out in a couple of months. I think they're taking a little bit of a couple of month hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
This issue specifically starts to kind of put things. Oh, also for the trade of the first one, it's going to be oversized. It's going to be bigger than the issues. And
Oh.
Jenna Cha was talking that you'll be able to see my art a little bit better because it's going to be a bit bigger. So I pre-ordered the trade already. I
Oh.
went to on Uncivilized right away and did it because I'm a sucker for this, and I've got, as much as I'm still confused about this book, I've got high
Yeah.
hopes for it. This issue really makes things a lot more clear. There's
Oh.
quite a
Okay.
bit of movement in this one. We get
Uh-huh.
an
Oh
autopsy
my.
of a character, and
Oh.
he sees that there's kind of like these, what he describes as like honeycomb pits in this person's brain. So
Oh
he's
my.
starting to track this sickness, and it's really hit a certain part of the United States. I think they do a map here, where people are all exhibiting this same kind of illness and hallucinations. So
Mm-hmm.
he's starting to pinpoint. He's now at a point where he's reaching out to some other scientist friends of his in this
Yeah.
issue to see if they can help him kind of determine what's going on and see if he can get kind of a thread. So, but it does feel like it's a virus that's affecting people in a very specific way and doing this damage. And just before people die, they're seeing visions. They're hallucinating of this man following them around. And then of course we cut to our other main character who is right in the midst of these visions and is seeing horrors everywhere he goes. There's nothing that even a friend of his comes to visit him, and he can't look at her for too long, because when he does, he starts seeing stuff like this, like she
Ew.
is she isn't as she appears to him. So he's really full blown. He's kind of hallucinating now 24/7. He can't escape these visions. Even in his bedroom, there's a man sitting in his bedroom talking to him,
Uh-huh.
sitting in the corner here. So
Oh.
Jenna Shaw is a great artist. I'm digging the story. I'm glad that it's kind of picking up a little bit with this issue. I feel like I have a little more to latch on to now. It is a very, very slow read. Those first 4 issues I found pretty slow as far as information. So that's the only challenge that I would say for people maybe coming into it is, this isn't kind of like an issue where you're going to get a really quickly paced story. You got to have a bit of patience for it, but I do think that it's going to go somewhere. I'm pretty excited, and it seems to be a pretty good hit for Uncivilized as well too. So, and we get these little splashes of color every once in a while. The rest of it is black and white, but her art is really, really cool. A very kind of distinct style that she has. So yeah, so I mean, yeah, check out Uncivilized to kind of pick up some stuff.
So the uncivilized books you're talking about, yeah?
Correct, yeah. I think it's just uncivilizedbooks.com. Is that what it
Yeah.
is?
I
Yeah,
wonder
uncivilizedbooks.com.
because that's America, so I wonder if anybody in UK part is doing
Mm,
that, because it's kind of like very like a difference when it comes to being across the pond,
right.
when especially
Yeah.
books. So I'm wondering. I'm
I
being
know that
looking.
they do have different shipping options for international on their website, because
How
I
is
had to
it?
choose international even though I'm just across the border.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's cheaper if you live in the States. You can get the shipping for much cheaper. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I went for it. I don't want to miss out on it. So
Are we down with the sickness?
that was yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that song. Yes, I can't remember what the band is, but yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking to see. I wonder. I guess I need to do a bit more trade because I didn't have a picked up in single format to see if I wanted to. Because when the minute you just mentioned about oversized trade, I was like, oh, that's more interesting, more intriguing. So, and the Craig Thompson is doing Uncivilized Books. So it's a different publisher. Or it's just like
No,
what is it?
same publisher. That's his Ginseng Roots is coming out through
Yeah.
Uncivilized as well too.
Hmm.
Yeah, they've got quite a few titles actually. When I was looking on their website yesterday, I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of titles I don't know, I've never heard of, but I mean, it feels like they're they're kind of gaining some traction, especially with a book like this, where they seem to be getting a lot more eyes on them. So it's good for them. They had a table at Ryan Carey's festival last year when
Hmm.
me and Colin met up in Minneapolis
Yeah.
to the insert name Zine Fest there. They had a table and selling some books. So
Oh
it
yeah,
seems
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're getting out there. So it's good.
Uh-huh. Okay. Have you ever heard about Josh Pettinger?
I sure have. Yes, he's on Manga Chat, one of my favorite YouTube channels.
And then do you know that he has a book called Goiter out?
Yeah. Yes. Did you get it?
No. No, I don't know. I don't know many things. I just hear.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna ask you,
Yeah.
do you have it? Do
I
you
don't.
actually
No, I don't have it. No, I know his art. I don't think I actually. I don't think I have anything from Pettinger. He might have appeared in an anthology or two that I might
uh-huh.
have. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if he appeared in like the Now anthology or something. But him and Simon Hanselman, they do that Manga Chat YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
That's worth checking out. And Pettinger seems to be, doing pretty well for himself. So his art is pretty slick.
So, because I can't because my browser is stupid. It doesn't you can probably see it, but this is the Goiter, the comic cover. They do. I don't think you can. I don't know. Whatever. So it's one of the books. I hear people talk about it. It's like on other YouTube channels, but you are my go-to guy when it comes to like books I've never heard about. So I ask you first because you're more liking that kind of sort of thing more than I do. Like I like all sorts of mixture. So anyway, so yeah, so he's like Floating Wars. Apparently, that's the comic book shop, isn't it? Who's producing now books for people? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
they've done a few books for people as well too. But yeah, it's a comic shop. I think they're in Portland, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Floating World.
yeah. Because Damien is Sleep Reader. He is always says, "Oh, Floating Wars, Floating Wars." So I always hear that word. So anyway, I heard the name. People talk about Goita, and apparently that his first issue is not in the trade. He's just produced. So I don't know whatever is that means, or is it important or not. Anyway, I just thought I'm going to mention it because of the you just mentioned about uncivilized books. So I thought I mentioned this one. Kind of cute. I like the style. I really like that. No, like really simplistic looking, kind of cartoonish type of the style of art, and kind of
Totally,
like
very
resonates.
unique.
Yeah, and resonates to me to read it because I read many of those kind of like a style of artists, and I really like looking at it, and it's kind of like comforting to me, and I know why. It's because it's not
Mhm.
complicated. I guess it's all about.
Right.
For me, probably would be storytelling. It's very important in that sense.
Hmm.
Okay, now my turn. Yes. So
Yep.
Transformers, which I'm continue with, surprisingly enough. I really like the universe. Let's say this way. I'm getting into it since I read the Void Rivals, the first volume from the library. I think I'm kind of like really getting into the world. I guess I don't know if I needed them to be part of the comic book, but this is a artist changed book as well. So we have Daniel Warren Johnson still writing it, but now we have Jorge Corona who is doing the art. And I tell you the difference I'm seeing. You can't really see much of huge differences, okay? But the one thing and the most kind of thing you definitely can notice is that the panel choices is not as speak what Warren used to use. So his is like expansive, it's like like moving panels, much more bigger, and it seems to be Jorge Corona using smaller panels to tell a story in one page. So that's the biggest difference I've seen. um, and the story is still very good, and I continuously being very entertained. Of course, once again, I'm kind of confused, but I'm catching up with the Decepticons and all the Transformers there is to know. There's so many of them. It's actually kind of crazy to keep up. The action is continuously happening. The art, I still like, as I said, even the artist change happened. The only thing I can see the differences is less splash panels and more like small panel layups. Maybe it's just Corona is getting the feel of it, but it's definitely good to see that he's not really going the same route as Warren was doing, because that really, you have to show your own ways of dealing with storytelling, even though you still have the same writer of Warren's. He's like human characters are, I can't make any of differences. Looks like very similar to me in that sense. So it made the feel I'd never get lost in that sense. Everything, whatever story is telling, is good. Very intriguing to see that because of the couple of humans, or one especially father who has sacrificed himself in order to Optimus Prime to be alive. It's interesting to see what Prime is feeling in this comic book. I don't know if it's been dealt with before, if this is new, as I am not a reader of Transformers before that. I cannot tell you. Um, oh yeah, that's the. Oh, look, I can't tell you, Sean, because as I say, I have not read Transformers from different publishers. I went on this route due to is kind of like curious to see that Skybound is doing Transformers comic. The way it's reads, it doesn't feel different to me to what I know from movie realm more than the comic book realm. And it seems to be a lot of people who has read these stories as well, saying that they really liking what the Daniel is doing with the book. It's extremely popular, and it's easy flowing. A lot of things happening. Decepticons is doing all of this things. There's a Decepticon who's been missing for a while and nobody has had an answer. And apparently, which I read a volume of Void Rivals, that the answer where you can find it. I can't tell you the name of the of the character off the top of my head because I don't remember. So as I say, it's quite difficult for me to keep up. But what I can tell you for sure, it's extremely entertaining. Art is still, as I say, art changed, but the colorist is, I think, the same. I do believe. Mike Spicer, yeah. So it's the same colorist. So it does have the same kind of taste to it, but not as what did you say? Like fast paced as what Daniel Warren Johnson's art would show you in the panels. So if you wanted to have a feel of it, of course, there's the first volume out already, and it's kind of nice one as well. I think it's a bit more. I don't know if it's oversized, but people are really liking the way it looks of it. So, but I've been picking up from the get go. And there's, of course, didn't they introduce? Yeah, I think they're introducing another book in this John universe, as they call them. So there's the Duke, there's Void Rivals. Who else? What else there's? Come on, show me. Surely, why can't I see? That's not much advertisement. No, I don't see who is a part of it, but I think the next one is the Scarlet. Apparently, people already sold out the first issue, and she's going to be a part of GI Joe codename. I think if I wanted to make any sense of this universe as well, I will continue hopefully having them read to follow the story with a library. Hopefully that will have. They had Void Rivals, which I was surprised because that's the first trade came out. And it was really fantastic storytelling for me. And I was kind of intrigued to see how I like the combination of two nations in fights for survival. And Transformers kind of got into it, and they have time travel distances between whatever's happening here and whatever will be in Void Rivals, as far as I understood. But in generally, I enjoying it, and I'm surprised. I am still intrigued, and Terrence is chewing something, uh, and I'm still intrigued, and I'm even though it's issue 8 already. I want to know what's happening next. There's a lot of dynamics that Warren is using with this characters where I'm finding intriguing, especially Optimus Prime, because it seems to be that he's going through something emotions where you would not think that he will be kind of partial to it, even though he's kind of like goody two shoes character. He wants peace, that he doesn't want to fight anymore Decepticons. He's just his priority is to gain peace between, and make sure that humanity survives because of that, because basically humans are in between them two now, and how they get squashed by Decepticons. They just land on a army warship, and they just started to basically evacuate. Every human army soldier has to evacuate because they just toying around with them like you would think you do with Transformers toys as a child. So it's kind of intriguing the way they use that part of it. So really good, intriguing storytelling. Do you have anything
Nothing,
else, or do
nothing
I?
beats a good nothing beats a good story where
Yeah,
giant creatures from another planet
yeah.
annihilate Earth. Nothing beats it.
Well, they basically smush them. Like the way
Yeah.
they look to, like the way we would you explain seeing them is like we are being gnomes, and they are humans, and we just
Yeah, right.
absolutely like you
Crush
smash
them.
them to crush them to bits.
Right.
Okay, do you have anything else?
Um, I haven't finished it yet, but I've
Go
started
on,
reading
go on, show us.
started reading this.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. So
Um,
tell
I
us.
mean, it's a hard one, man. Like this first volume was so good that
Uh
I'm finding that I'm not getting into this one right away. But
huh.
again, I'm so little into it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
How many?
30 pages or something. You know what I mean? So her art is still
Oh.
exceptional. There's no doubt about it. There
Uh huh.
does seem to, and it feels like I need to go back and look through the other book because it
Yeah.
does feel like there's some pages where she's almost dashed it off a little bit, where it seems to be a little quicker.
Hmm.
And I don't remember that style of thing from the first one. I remember every single page being pretty detailed, but there's some pages where it feels like she hasn't phoned it in, but she's kind of taken a different approach to it.
Uh huh.
So it's still too early to tell. I
Yeah.
loved the first book, and I'm still really looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not kind of grabbing me the way that first book did. But
Uh-huh.
I just put that off to the fact that I now know about her as an artist. Where the first time
Yes.
I read that first book, I had no idea who she
No.
was. She
Yeah.
came from nowhere. There was this real kind of like, holy shit, that's exceptional art. So
Yeah.
I'm putting it off to that. So I'm still tucking into it, but it's just like I said, I just haven't read a ton this week. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, that is out there for anybody who read the
I
first one.
really like the cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's like spot on, and
Mm-hmm.
you definitely can see it. Like it stands out from the crowd. I mean, the minute you look at it, the cover is just like absolutely fantastic. And
Yeah,
she uses those. It's a ballpoint pen she's using. The main as a point of.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and
She's
it's
just
not.
an unbelievable artist, man. Like she's just incredible. Some of the when you really look at some of her colored and highly detailed pages and
Hmm.
you start really looking at it and seeing the individual lines, it's like, holy fuck, man. This must
Hmm.
have taken you forever just to do one page, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah, it's unreal.
Talking about ballpoint pens, there's a fact for you. They're making a refillable ballpoint pen. You know the big, that infamous design of the big, that
Hmm.
plastic thingy. It looks like a pencil, and there's the tip of it, and so they making it refillable and with metal casing because they want to be going green. The fact for you, no, nobody asked for. I just saw it. It's like, damn, we're doing refillable ones now. So they don't want it to create more plastics because apparently
I
in
mean, as a company, you got to be starting to think about things like that because there's a new generation that ain't gonna buy your shit otherwise.
well, they produced a couple of billions, and they still in production, is still available in stock. So imagine how many. So you can use it for a long time. That big pen, the ballpoint pen, by the way, but it does write really well, to be honest. In saying that, but yeah, you have to change the ways, and it's nice to see that a company as size of that can hopefully do that for newer generation and change the way we do. You did read this one. I know I'm really late on that because I know I picked up that you did read Usagi Yojimbo, the
I
third
sure
issue.
did. Yeah, there hasn't been a new issue since, right? That's still what,
Yeah, just
number
a
four,
second.
two or something? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, number two.
What'd you think
Um,
of it?
I really liked it. I was a bit
Yeah, me as well.
confused because it was a while. Okay, so I took quite a bit of break between reading this because I waited for this to come out quite late. So it was more like a month and a half since it was, because I think it's gonna come out this month sooner or later. Anyway, but I was confused by where it was placed, and I forgot that his cousin was kind of had this disagreement. You know, the crowd in the pub. They were drinking, having conversation. He got pissed off and he kind of left because he was saying something rude. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I didn't follow that through at the beginning because I, like kind of confused because they kind of look the same rabbits. Of course, there's nuances of differences. But at the beginning, when you start just reading, it's like, that's not Usagi. And I keep on like reading, no, that's not Usagi. And you keep on convincing yourself. And of course, finally you realize that it's not Usagi, it's his cousin. And I really like, I mean, it's such a comfort thing when you're reading Usagi Yojimbo and he gets in trouble. He has this like youthful ways of thinking, apparently, according to him as well. That the samurai way is the only way, and he only believes in sword, and you have to like, kind of be always respectful to that. And if you want to defeat somebody, you have to be honored with a fight between two of them. And of course, he didn't have that, but it's really good as always. It's kind of like haven't done really much going on in here, apart of him getting in trouble, and Usagi's keep on talking about that he needs to look for him, and he never went because he somehow got convinced with that crowd of the bounty hunters. Just sit down, pay for our bills, and don't worry about it. We're just chugging kampai, kampai, and you just keep on drinking, which is like, that looks so tasty, but it's like kampai. So there you go. You're doing the same thing. Cheers to you. Kampai to you all. I'm doing cider, unfortunately, nothing hard. And that's enough for me. Already going red, as you can clearly see on my face.
And I'm actually drinking sake as well too, so
Oh, there
it
you go.
fits. Yeah.
Yeah, it fits. So anyway,
I also like the idea of the soul of a samurai being in their sword. I like that idea. I thought that
yeah,
was a really nice touch at the end there.
yeah. So it's very good. And then of course we have he's in trouble, and Usagi Yojimbo realizes by somebody coming into his pub and telling him like, look, you're actually your thing. Don't bother looking for him. We know where he is, kind of thing. Like, but then after because also this guy, he knows Usagi and he has a favor for him, but he's still trying to kind of be kind of like, oh, you're disrespecting me. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm gonna chop you up, like he was saying like in here. And his face, I honestly thought this is it. I was looking, that the telltale sign about how Stan Sakai kills a character is that little bubble where it's like a skull and like his dead character. So he's dead, but it didn't show here. So I don't think he's dead. But the way he's implying into it, kind of feels like he maybe would be. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's definitely sending a message for sure,
yeah,
but I think this cousin is still alive for sure.
yeah. And every single time I read Usagi Yojimbo, I keep on thinking about that bloody action figure. Can't stop thinking. It's like I want to kind of
That
like a child play
that
with it.
black and white one looks
Yeah,
so incredible.
yeah.
I got to send you this package sooner than later. I've got it because I have that first color Usagi to send you as well too, and
Oh,
the issue
okay.
of canon and things like. I just haven't put it together yet. I'll try to this week, but
Don't worry.
yeah. I agree with you though. Like I
Yeah,
can
I want
see everybody talks about the same thing with Usagi, and we've mentioned it before that it's just really you just feel comfortable reading it. It's just really nice storytelling. They're really good little stories. I dug that issue quite a bit.
yeah. Okay, so I have one more. Do you have any emails? No. So this is the one I decided to have because I like Elseworlds, and that's a thing, and that's what the banner of this video will be. Is one of the panels because the art in this one is watercolor. It looks extremely realistic in cells. I think it's a watercolor, but it was printed in 1993, and I'm talking about a Batman Houdini story, The Devil's Workshop, and it's the Howard Victor Chaikin has written the story, the John
Wow.
Francis Moore, And Mark
Never heard of that one.
Chiarello is an artist. It's one that super format, whatever it is, Elseworlds story of Batman. It's the Batman we see, and is based in 1907, where Houdini is in the realm. So it's really, oh, it's inkwash or watercolor. I mean, I'll show you some panels, and you see. So it's winter in New York, or Gotham Nights, how they call them. It's happening, and we see there's a slew of kidnapped kids happening in the world, in that world at the moment, and they were captured so many times, and nobody knew what was happening, and like they found lots of bodies of kids, and everybody says scream, and then Houdini is there, part of to distract this journalist, and that's how we get introduced to us in the storyline, where he's basically trying to kind of like, I don't know. Is he trying to kind of have a wave of journalists, or he just wants her to write the right stories because he's a Jew who is doing some, like tricks, and people, not everybody believes in him, and he's just trying to put the name to it. He gets into kind of high society venues, and he's kind of a big mouth. Not every and she, the journalist especially, doesn't like the way he's talking, because he's like he knows everything. And then they meet Bruce Wayne, and you get introduced to him also in that time. And while that all this introduction and Houdini part is happening, he's narrating the story, by the way. He says from this point of view, how he met Bruce Wayne, and how he met Batman, and how he realized who the Batman was, basically, because he's Houdini and blah, blah, blah. He kind of sussed everybody out who is doing something extra. And the main thing for Houdini is how to kind of like, there's people with who has an extra, what do they call them? Like magicians, but not magicians, but those who's speaking to the souls. So he's kind of like looking for an answers, because his mom is also, he has one thing in common with Batman. They share the name, apparently. His not name is the Harry Houdini is just his stage name, but his name is actual Bruce. But I don't know his surname. I don't know if it's even mentioned that. So both of them shares the same name, and both of them has stage name, which Bruce Wayne has Batman, and of course Houdini is Harry Houdini. So yeah, it's kind of intriguing storyline. I really like, the more I flip the pages through, the artwork is just what's speaking to me. A bit muddy up, maybe it's because it was printed in 93, was it, or 96. But the crazy guy who's doing all the stuff has this crazy wacky face. Of course, it's supposedly the beginning of Joker kind of like vibe to it. It's not saying that it's a Joker, of course, but it's just the guy who's kidnapping them. And why he's kidnapping the kids, we find out right the latest stages of the storytelling. Because we have an involvement of vampires, which I was very surprised by it. I was taken aback because I didn't really expect the story to go that route. And it's really cool. I mean, the how Houdini understood what Batman is because when he met Batman, Batman spoke, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't hide your voice," like Batman now, like, "Oh, I'm the Batman," he like kind of growls to you, so you don't recognize his voice. But I guess in that era, he didn't do so. Really good vibes towards this issue, like from the beginning until the end. Of course, everything got solved to a good end. The journalists kind of had a more interest in Batman, Bruce Wayne, than Houdini. So he was in that time of like disappointed. But yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And as I say, the artwork was growing into me, like the Batman, the way it's really, it looks like very well. Um, the artist using watercolors to a point where it doesn't have any blemishes. It seems to be it has the full control, which is very difficult to do so in watercolor. What people sometimes think that is much easier to do, but when it dries, it presents very differently to you when it was in a fresh wet paint. So it's kind of intriguing how people use the watercolor to their advantages. I really like that there's no inking. This is all or ink wash or watercolor to choose. I think, I'm guessing, but definitely you don't see those hard lines. There's moments there is some hard lines used, especially if you have to use maybe the hard shadows to portray the, like illumination of the panel. But the storytelling was not clunky. It felt intriguing enough, as I say, and maybe a little bit easy for him to find out how the Batman, who is Batman is. Kind of felt a little bit too easy for Harry to do so, but it was moments of like, like one of those Batman stories kind of thing. And the guy who is bad guys likes to slap people's faces and say crack on it. So I thought I'd just mention that for Terence to do so. But yeah, I really like this, as I say. It's really intriguing. And why they was using the kits for what they were using, you need to find out for yourself and find this. It's probably gonna find it for cheap. I presume so. So Batman Houdini Elseworlds story. Oh, because I know why I wanted to read this one. Because they're coming out with um Batman by Gaslight is the storyline. I think they're gonna continue. They're gonna continue the storyline, and also they're doing what is the other one? The artist died, and the writer is gonna finish the story. Oh, Halloween! Tim Sale, Batman. Put the volume on. Come on, speak. Put the microphone on.
Yeah, long Halloween.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah,
gonna make a like finish the storyline. Apparently, he intended to continue. As far as I know, I
amazing.
think he announced that in some of the Comic Cons, I think. And I think they want to celebrate Tim Sale because it's going to be, I
Yeah,
think, a year anniversary of his death, isn't it? Did he died last year?
something like that. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, a year or two
Or
years.
2 years. I don't know.
Yeah,
Some sort of thing. At the end of the day, it's like it's extremely popular story, and I have the Long Halloween, but I've not finished reading it, which is kind of shame. I probably will say, "Ooh, how dare you!"
it's great. They were such a good creative team together. Like
Yeah,
they did some really exceptional work. Yeah,
exactly. So they're gonna do that. So I think that's why it just got that, and I looked it up in my Batman thingies and see, and I saw this one. I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to see," especially because what's the artwork inside. And if I read it I think I didn't read it as well, so I just like surprised myself by just picking up whatever I have from my own collection and read it. So I just because I was getting those facsimiles, I got two of them. So this one is first Penguin, and that reprint is splendid. It has nice everything you can see, read, easy panels, blah blah blah. And then I get this one, which they forget to send it to me. Could you believe? So I got it this. Look at how much they charged. Jesus Christ Almighty! I
I
got
can't
it
see.
for
What does it say?
$6.99.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's how much they were charging when they printed out. I got it for £1.50, and like, okay, let me show off my.
Sweet deal.
But it's very blurry. I mean, very dark, and the speech bubbles, the letters are tiny. I was trying to read it, and I was like, my eyes were like really tired from like just a couple of panels, so I didn't even like go through much. And it's like, I know it's a bigger format, so if you reprint something and you're trying to be true to what it was released in that time, and I know it was really long time, 1940 something, 43 or 42, this came out.
Yeah,
But you see that chunk in the whites?
yeah. Because it was that
Wow.
golden age, bigger format or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
so
So
you producing, okay, let's say you producing this, so produce this in a facsimile. Then if you charge people $6.99 for reprint, so give them what it's worth, like the bigger expanded panels. I'm just maybe a bit, like, I don't know, but I would like
no, I mean
to.
that's a valid point. If you're going to
Yeah,
reprint those books that were a bigger
yeah.
format, make the reprints the bigger format too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're true to everything. Your advertising is true to it. The comic book is true to it. This one, I think, is the same size because you can clearly see the panels. That's how it used to be looking. Because I actually went online to see people flipping through actual original print. And what I like about these reprints, they use newspaper, which feels great. To be honest, I absolutely love that as a reprint of, as a facsimile, you know, true to that. And then so I got this one because basically why I got it is for two titles, but I saw other ones and I couldn't. This is the main one, which I own. I don't own original. I like Green Lantern, and John Stewart's one character. Kind of like I know much, not much of it, but quite a bit of it. But I never had his first appearance. And inside you have, of course, O'Neill's art, which is also newsprint. Really feels good as a reprint comic book. Maybe it's a little bit too like colors, you know, too strong colors because of reprint, but it's still I have that one. But I got it because you remember what we were talking about is David Mazzucchelli, and they don't have number one issue. They
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have,
yeah.
and I was thinking maybe I have it, and I don't have. I was like, oh, why don't I? But I read it. Don't get me wrong. I read it. I had the first trade. I sold it. I think. Oh, I got rid of it. But I really because you know like are you pre-ordering? Are you gonna be brave enough to pre-order the artist edition?
I mean, I've tried and my shop can't get it, so I'm gonna try again. But
Oh,
they were unable to pre-order anything for me. So, but that was a month or two ago, though. I should check in with them again
yeah.
because I do really
Yeah.
want it. I think that would be a really good one to have. You know.
hmm And Sean is telling us that he would vote for bigger. Yeah, if you reprint, so do it reprint according to the. Anyway, I'm being, as I say, but yeah. So I want to have it all four of them, but of course because they on sale and they don't have number one. It's like, come on. But anyway, still beautiful to look at. Is his Batman is splendid. Looks so good. The
So
Catwoman,
good, like so good.
Catwoman's costume is not the most amazing, but this
Yeah,
man, this is what I would like Mazzucchelli. Oh, these
yeah.
faces, and Alfred looks fantastic as well. It's such a panels, and this artist edition is coming out, and you're gonna see all this in
Oh,
different. Oh my god, man!
I can't wait. Yeah,
So this is
so
great
much
as a
fucking money.
facsimile, and you guys should get it if you don't have not read year one and from Batman. But even the look back in March, Outsiders. Looks great. Such a I have such a kick, and I really like the style like that. You know, like Gotham City Central. No, is that just yeah? It has the same feel to it, you know, because all the artists look. It just feels so good. And if they would produce comic book again, like new Batman story with this kind of art, I would jump like whoop and gonna get
Yeah,
it straight
same.
away in my pull list because I just
Has
really
more of a
like it.
grittiness to it, right? Like I feel like that
Yes,
fits it a little bit more. Yeah.
exactly. It's like those like you know, like old school like hairstyles and the way the sceneries look like that, you know, like such a fan. Like that person and Batman is crouching over him and it's like oh. But I think there's a scene, but I don't think it's in this one. I think it's in issue one. You know that train scene? The most famous panel probably is used. I think everybody is not here. Oh, and look at him. Look at that. Look at his construction, how the Batman flies. Absolutely bloody awesome. I'm probably gonna have to go on the digital route, read the first issue, and then continue on this format. So because I want to reread it. And yes, an artist edition is coming out as we keep on talking about. August
Yeah,
is great. August,
another thing that people just don't want to make easy to find. You know, it just
yeah.
boggles my mind.
Well,
How my comic shop is having problems pre-ordering it. It's like that speaks to me of like you have some issues within your company. If my comic shop is having problem pre-ordering shit, like
shit.
that's a huge that's a huge flaw in your distribution system, you know? So, yeah.
What's his name? Harley Quinn's famous writer. What's his name? He's been showing his inside of the artist edition on his Twitter. Palmiotti. He received an early copy of his Mazzucchelli's work, and he was flipping. I was like, oh no, no! Every single flip he did, is like, damn you! Flip, damn you! He's already looking at it. So he got an early edition. So he's like, "Oh, people, go pre-order it." Yeah, it's easy for you to say. You already have it. Lucky bugger. But anyway, he's a fan of Batman, and he's a very good Joker, Harley Quinn writer anyway. And his wife is stupendous artist anyway. So mm, I'm going. I don't know. I don't have bucks. Let's say this way. I don't have funds for the artist edition. Do you want to?
That's the thing. I've got to sell a bunch of stuff to get some funds for it, because I mean, with the
Yeah.
amount of books I've pre-ordered from Fantagraphics and things, and having those two that came out last week for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's a trap, a bit of a trap.
Will you be doing a video or showing inside of that Richard Corbin?
Sorry,
Oh
you're gonna
my
have to.
god!
Holy shit balls!
Wow, that was loud. I'm gonna be
You're
deaf
gonna have
now.
to say that again. I missed that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Are you gonna show inside of the book of that Richard Corbin's Hellboy, artist edition?
I will. Yeah, I've read the first story already. Once I've read it, I'll definitely do. I'll definitely show the insides of that. It's beautiful so far. I'm loving it so far.
How is the book itself? Nice, yeah. Still nice.
It's really really nice, honestly, like really good. They do that kind of like that fabric spine, and then they have
Oh
like the cover that
no!
kind of almost wraps around. Like it's a really nicely produced book
Oh,
for sure.
so
Yeah,
they did
it's
it the
it's really
same.
beauty.
This is the same way of printing like they did with Frank Miller and big robot or little robot. That's the way they print
Mm,
the hardcover. That the cloth
yeah,
on the
exactly.
spine.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit! Oh, okay, that's nice. That's very
Big
nice
Guy and
treatment.
Rusty or whatever that's called,
Yes,
something like that, is it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's the one. Sorry, I'm blanking the name.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, the
So
thing is they do quality shit, right? Like they always have.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
just, again, it's the classic. It's just they just don't make it easy to get, right? So I'm glad I got on that one. I'm glad that I pre-ordered, because I feel like that kind of stuff will sell out instantly, and then it'll be 3 times as much on the aftermarket or whatever. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm glad I've
I
grabbed one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna go. I think anyway, Hellboy it sells out in the hardcovers. They do.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can do a test to myself. I mean, I don't need to get it to be honest, because I
Yeah,
already
yeah.
have so much Hellboy going on. So I don't think I
It's
will.
nice to have that stuff collected in one book, though. I think it's
I
great.
understand that, yeah, but I have like this big chunk of everything, like
Yeah.
so. Do I need another one? I don't think so. I need to sell. I do need to sell a lot if I want to basically get hold of both those stuff. And I don't see it. I just don't see I'm gonna. That's the problem. Because collect, like what I have to sell, it's collected most of them stuff like books, and they don't sell that well. Do you know what I mean? So, or it's not as hot as other books like trades. I mean, I have a couple of trades I would like to get rid of, but like you say yourself, they don't really sell for that much. You know what I mean?
The softcover stuff never sells. The hardcover, I feel like, always holds its value to some degree. It's
Yeah,
just that softcover trades that just they do not hold their value whatsoever. Like, even when
yeah.
I've sold trades in the past, I've had to mark them down to like $5 just to sell them, because
Mm,
even at 50% off, people just they don't want it. They just, and I don't really understand why. It's still the same book, but yeah, the
I know.
hardcovers really hold their value quite a bit.
Hmm. Cool. I saw something else on collected thing here and got interested, but I forgot the name. I was, like you forget to mention, but you can talk about it. Maybe I'll remember next time we chat. Anyway, wow, 2 hours. Okay, we managed to cover quite a few. I will
Filled the
be,
time.
yeah, we'll be reading those facsimiles, and I will talk about many of those.
Cool.
Um, and yeah, we'll see what's gonna come out next week. I will talk. I'll mention to my comic guy about that precious metal, but I doubt if the
Mhm.
big chain doesn't have it in stock. That doesn't sound really good. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, give him a shout. He might, because he's a smaller shop. Maybe he'll have a copy or two squirreled away. I was surprised that I thought for sure I was gonna miss it, but
yeah.
I'm glad that it was out there still. So
Well, you're lucky. You have a couple of comic book shops
that's the
around you,
thing. Yeah, we've got a couple. Yeah.
and I got a Flash.
Oh,
That's the
sweet.
first Flash in this first title, apparently. And of
Mm,
course, I have to have some X-Men because the
yes.
original is first appearance of Wanda, Quicksilver, and Toad and Evil Mutants. So that's quite
Oh, that's awesome.
quite hectic one, but not bad.
Hmm.
I mean, I like that era of X-Men.
Hmm.
A lot of people read that in omnibus most of the time, but not bad to get hold of this. to be honest,
No,
in
it's good
this
to
kind
see
of
that.
format.
It's good to see that stuff, right? Like that early
Oh yes.
days,
Ooh,
when the
yes.
design wasn't necessarily 100% there yet,
Yeah.
and they were
Mm-hmm.
still figuring things out. It's great to see.
Look at the wonder.
Yeah,
That thingy on her face, like kind of like a mask, supposedly, like
yeah,
overshadows the whole face, especially when she's down here, and her
uh-huh.
face is all completely covered. It's kind of interesting. And teenage X-Men, like really not knowing what's happening around them. Are you gonna
Mhm.
watch that, or have you watched that animated series, X-Men 90s? Are you interested at all in watching it?
I am interested, but I still haven't watched it. No, I mean, me and TV, I just don't watch that stuff. But I do want to see it, though. Yeah.
It's really good, to be honest.
Hmm.
Honestly, watch when something happens in Gambit. It's a spoiler alert. He basically gets murdered. But watch that. It's very
Yeah.
emotional. I've never felt
Yeah.
animation series will bring emotions, but that was kind of like really they were trying their best to do. And a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing to the Gambit character? The way he's
Hmm.
dressed." I wouldn't say my favorite part, but yeah. But this is Jack Kirby, by the way, and
Oh
Stan
yeah,
Lee's
cool.
work, which is just the beginning of like Kirby's
Hmm.
work on things. Don't forget, but yeah, amazing. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice to get this for cheap, because like this one, $5 when it came out.
that's yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
For facsimile, like, because I mean, you have been looking for the through the bins. I bet you found some older versions, milestones, reprinted editions of those the same comic books. So it's actually you always find them for cheap. And
Yep.
also, the surprise,
Yeah, those ones are out there quite a bit.
this was on sale as well.
Mm.
Christian Ward's Batman: City of Madness issue 1 for £1.50 as well, which is
Oh
kind of
wow,
neat for this
that's pretty impressive.
giant. Like I like this black
Yeah, that
label.
magazine size or whatever.
Yeah, it's $7 when it came out.
Hmm.
But Christian Ward is not bad. But this, like, he really likes to use all these bright colors when it comes to Batman and stuff. Or his art style is screaming for that. And even Two Face. Look at the Two Face. Kind of interesting looking man.
I want the next issue of the Raphael Grandpa Batman. I don't
Oh
know when
yeah.
that's coming out, but
So I slept on the issue 2. Yeah,
mm,
because there's only 2 issues out yet. So
yeah, that's right. 2 issues so far. Yeah.
yeah. And he already, what he showed? Did you see? He showed a trade collected. It's like,
Oh really?
how? I mean, you
Yeah.
haven't yet produced all the issues you're supposed
Hmm.
to. I think in socials he was showing off like, oh look, there's my trade coming out. So
Yeah, he
anyway,
does pretty good. His Instagram, I follow him on Instagram, and he
yeah,
does pretty good with promoting his stuff.
yeah.
Such a good
Anyway,
artist, man.
such a big book for £1.50.
Hmm.
Never say no to it. I just like, I don't know if I care much of whatever storytelling is going to be in here, but I like the format. To be honest, I like
Hmm.
people's art in a big format like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, Black Label. It's a
yeah. I was gonna
kicker
say
when you
Black
have to
Label.
put it in sleeve, which I don't really have many magazine sleeves because I don't collect that many.
Yeah, I'm lucky that we've got a shop downtown that sells magazine. You can buy them in like packs of 5 and 10, so you
Yeah.
don't have to commit to like a 50 pack or something, right? So that makes it good to kind of, if I just need a couple, I can just go pick up a few.
To be honest, I could just ask my comic guy to just put. I remember now. You reminded me. I said last time, can you just put a couple of bags for me in my
Hmm.
delivery? I pay whatever. It's like, yeah, yep. Send it. I should ask.
Hmm.
Should ask him just to put a couple of
Yeah, yeah,
them
just to get a couple. Yeah,
if he doesn't mind. Hopefully, with all my needs and all the stuff he needs to please. Anyway,
yeah,
it's matter. Okay, so we did it. Thank you, Sean, for keeping us a company, and Donald as well.
yeah.
I know
Nice to
you
see you,
listened.
Sean.
So yeah, we'll
Donald Rex. I
hopefully,
hope it's going well there, Donald,
yeah,
if
don't
he's
work
still
too
there.
hard. Yeah, don't work
Yeah,
too hard. Make sure just put the right label.
yeah, yeah. 50 cents for everything. 50 cents.
Yeah, just before somebody visits. Bait sale, sale. Yeah, I know you, Sean. You are a big fan of Batman. I know you tried to, like, your best is to get into DC
Yeah.
comics. Uh, but yeah, we do
I
talk
feel like
about.
that character's got legs. I feel like it's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, but we oh look, still going. Very good, Donald. Um, um, I really, I want, I was flipping, looking for Batmans, and I look all that audio adventures. Like, come on, give us more audio
Yeah,
adventures like that, eh? We really like that
yeah,
one, didn't we?
I love that one. That was the one of the best. Like that
Hmm.
even beat out the Batman Adventures stuff they were doing. Like that audio adventures was just top notch.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the
Mm,
story, the art was the best, I think, the part of it.
yeah,
Anyway,
totally.
so thank you, people, for listening. And yeah, hopefully we will pop in and say hello next week. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed. Damn
yeah. We'll
summer.
see how it goes
Okay. Bye.
later.